So today we're talking about how to be a first principles thinker. And thank you all for being patient. I appreciate it. So struggle streaming, but we are going to work it out. We're going to work it out. So I want to make sure that my display is showing like I needed to. Give me a moment. So what first principles thinking is, it's logic and reason that's based upon a no assumptions approach to identifying processes or processes in the process of developing a product or developing a technology. It's a situation where you're taking no previously assumed information about anything, and you can only take the information that's immediately evident right there in front of you as the method of actually how something works. A good way to describe it is almost similar to like a Lego block or like a Lego design. So you know how you can get a Lego box that's a series of a bunch of blocks that create an overall image and overall design. But if you break it down to its core fundamentals, each individual blocks that make one big image or one big design. That's what essentially first principles is. It's whenever you're approaching technology similar to like rocket science. In the case of Elon Musk, he was someone that had an interest in physics, but he was not someone who was a rocket scientist. And so he used first principles thinking in order for him to dissect and figure out how he can go about having a SpaceX, a company that he uses for space exploration and overall, it's the overall vehicle that he plans on using in order for us as humans to go to Mars. So he's used that in space in the journey for him to establish SpaceX, but he's also used it in his development of batteries for his Teslas. So one of the things that he discovered was that the cost of batteries was significant when he was receiving them from an individual or an outside supplier. So he used first principles thinking in order for him to look at the battery technology, the present battery technology, and to dissect it and say, hey, how can I take this design that I'm receiving from another supplier? How can we create our own products? What are the core principles or what are the core materials that are necessary for these batteries? And as a result, what happened was Tesla has embarked upon the journey of them developing batteries for themselves. That's how they have he has this gigawatt factory, and this is how he's used it. So let me see if this will work. I'm not sure if it's working. Okay, all right. Now you guys should be able to see me. Give me a moment. We are trying to figure this out. So I want to discuss how James Clear and he describes first principles thinking. For me, one of the things that I've discovered is that like I said, in my adventure as a curious young man, I was always curious about how things worked, and I would play with toys. One of my favorite things to play with as a young man were cars. And so I would take cars and I would sit there, play with the car. But then at a certain point, I'd get bored with it. And so then I would start trying to figure out how in the world can I take this toy and have some more fun with it. How can I figure out how it works It's not working like I needed to. Give me a moment, guys. I want to share the screen. It is not working like I needed to. All right. So what examples in your life would you say that you remember using first principles thinking? Do you have any examples where you've taken something apart in an effort to figure out how it works? Put it in the chat. I'm curious if you all have had this type of mentality at all ever in your life. For me, I've done it a lot of times with technology. I remember there was a time when I had a radio that was not working. It was a cassette player. It was not working. That kind of dates me right there. It was not working like it should have. And I found myself taking it apart, and I would just take a bunch of different components out. But what I would do is I would try to see how it's supposed to work. And then I would look and see if there's anything that's wiggling or that's loose in order to figure out what was wrong with it. And for me, I never thought that it was, I thought it was just genuine curiosity. And, but now the fancy term is first principles thinking. What do you all think about the concept of first principles thinking? Is it something that makes sense for someone to use in order for him to be the wealthiest person in the world? Does that make sense for that to be like the most powerful way of thinking? Do you all agree with that ideology, or do you think that there's a better way that we could look at things that maybe is a little bit more efficient? I'm curious about what you all think. Is there a better way that you've come across outside of first principles thinking or first principles reasoning? I'm not winning right now, but we're going to make it work. We are going to make it work. Okay. All right. So I am going to see if I can share something with you all. It's not. I'm not sure. Anyway, so it's not working like I want, but we're gonna work it out. We're gonna work it out. I'm curious. Is there any other reasoning method that you all are familiar with outside of first principles? Are you all familiar with the idea of deductive reasoning? Have you all heard of the concept of deductive reasoning? Put a 1 in the chat if you've heard of the concept of deductive reasoning. And for me, this is also another term that is relatively new to me as far as the technical term. But when I really think about it in practice, it's not a foreign concept. So deductive reasoning is the concept of you working backwards into understanding something. For an example, let's say you have to be somewhere at 5:30, right? So you have to be somewhere at 5:30, and you know it will take at least 30 minutes for you to get to that location. So deductive reasoning would lead you to think that you should take the time it's going to take for you to get to a location, and then also consider the time that it's actually you take the time that you need to be somewhere, subtract the time that it's going to take for you to get to that location, and then that's how you end up discovering the time that you actually need to leave. So if it's going to take you 30 minutes for you to travel somewhere, let's say we need to be there at 5:30, and it'll take us 30 minutes for us to get there. Deductive reasoning would say you should leave your home at 5 p.m. in order for you to arrive there at 5:30. So that's deductive reasoning. And so then there's another concept of inductive reasoning. So inductive reasoning is reasoning where you take the information that you have that you would typically have from the deductive reasoning standpoint, but then you infuse a little bit of probability into it. So to give you an example, you would, for instance, when I went outside, one of the mailboxes was knocked over, right? So what I could do is, if I noticed there was a mailbox that was knocked over, I would go outside and see where the mail person is potentially at. And if it seems like the mail person has already passed that home, and maybe he hasn't made it to the other side of the street, inductive reasoning would tell me that there's a probability that maybe the mail person accidentally hit the mailbox. So that's me taking some information that I know, and then I'm also infusing a little bit of probability. But that's with me having not witnessed it or observed it directly. So then you have a concept called abductive reasoning. And abductive reasoning is the concept of you coming, let's say you come to your home. Let's say you come to your home a couple of days, maybe after your mailbox has been hit. And you would come there, discover that the mailbox has been hit, but then you just create a story in your mind about what potentially happened. Yeah. What potentially happened to cause that mailbox to be knocked over, or to cause whatever said issue to be present. And you know what? I think I know what I was doing wrong. Your slide, screen. Okay. All right. So I think we're good. Let me give me a second. I figured out what I was doing wrong. We're gonna build it as we fly it. Are you all familiar with that concept? Does that sound familiar? Is that something that is new to you all? I'm curious if you all have ever heard of those concepts, those various reasoning concepts. The technical terms, to me, they're newer, but here we go. Okay. All right. My apologies. We are struggle streaming. So this is what I can say. First principles was used by Elon Musk in order for him to solve an issue that he was having with developing rocket technology. What he discovered was that the cost of having rockets developed by other companies was going to cost him about $65 million. Given the high price, he went to a place, one could say, of scarcity, where he was taking the situation that he could actually control. He was thinking about what he could actually control. And he broke it down using first principles in order for him to understand exactly how he could produce this very same rocket technology. So it was going to be up to $65 million in order for him to have this technology developed by other aerospace companies. And the high price forced him to really think, it's like, hey, how in the world can I figure out to do the same exact thing myself? And in his mind, he's always been someone who was interested in physics overall. And so what he did was he used the physics framework where you make no assumptions. That's the key tenet in first principles thinking. You make no assumptions. You only take the information that's immediately evident to you, and you use that in order for you to draw conclusions about what is there, what is not there, what you need in order for you to make it possible. So what he started to think to himself is, what are rockets made of? And one thing that he understood was that rockets were made of aerospace aluminums, titanium, copper, carbon fibers. And then he wanted to ask, how much of these products as a completed product, how much was the rocket assembled, pre-assembled, right? And then he went back out there into the field to really figure out how much of these individual components by themselves. And then he discovered that instead of him buying a finished rocket for tens of millions of dollars, he could just create the very same items himself by getting these raw materials for cheap from various different suppliers. And then that's what spawned the creation of SpaceX, where he was able to now build rockets himself, you know? And it says right here, within a few years, SpaceX had cut the price of launching rockets by nearly 10x. So just the concept of him employing first principles allowed him to save 10 times what he would have spent on him counting on someone else to do something for them. So I'm curious, like, how many times, one of the simplest ways that I've really thought about it, this right here, how many times have you all said to yourself, hey, I don't know if I really want to pay someone for this right here. How much would it cost for me to actually do it myself? You know, in that one specific instance, you were using first principles thinking, you know, you were acting as a first principles thinker. So one of the simplest examples I could think of is in the process of you cooking a meal, right? So you could either pay someone to cook something for you, or you could simply go to the grocery store, buy the individual components, cut them up, cook them, and then you would have that same meal that you could have paid someone else out of convenience. But then instead, you took the individual components and you put them together yourself in order for you to have this same outcome that you could have had you allowed someone else to conveniently do it for you. So it says right here, Musk used first principles thinking to break the situation down to the fundamentals, bypassing the high prices of the aerospace industry and creating a more efficient product. First principles thinking is the act of boiling down a process down to the fundamental parts that you know are true and building up from there. So I really, was surprised to really hear that it was something that simple, because I can say that for myself, there's some concepts that people specifically make them seem intimidating or make it seem to be something that is outside of your reach. And one of the examples that I can say that I've observed, even in myself, is that even in my speech, I've found myself at certain points making myself to sound more educated by using fancier terms or using terms that make me sound more eloquent or more intelligent, when I could very well easily just use simple concepts that a broad spectrum of people could understand. And that's what happens a lot of times in these industries. I've discovered that that's the case in tech. People use a bunch of acronyms to make other people outside of their space feel left out or feel like they're not included in the conversation. And I've even seen companies employ methods where they have a no acronym policy, where people are not allowed to use acronyms that make people feel left out. So from a personal standpoint, I really value the idea of making conversations more inclusive and not allowing people to feel left out, because like I said, I'm guilty of the very same thing, using acronyms to kind of make myself feel like I have an in group, and so I'm part of an in group, or I have my peers who are part of an in group, and we're all having these conversations. And sometimes even I'd almost say like speaking in code. And that's what happens whenever you have concepts introduced to you with like specific terms that maybe make you feel like, hey, this is something that only our group understands, but it's something that you guys are not familiar with. It's completely foreign. And that's what the idea of first principles thinking has done. But I mean, is that not wild though, that even in the beginning, right? He saved $65 million by him deploying this type of concept. And this has made him significantly successful. And he's using this very same logic for him to create and produce batteries. He had the same exact issue with batteries. And with the battery technology, it was the same exact set of circumstances. He realized that the supplier for the batteries was asking for a significant amount of money. And he saw that if I can just break it down to the fundamentals, and I can use the fundamental products or components to actually create my own product in order for me to save money. And in the long run, hopefully the end consumer can benefit from it. So I want to go back over these concepts of the various different types of reasoning concepts. So do you all have any questions in reference to, do you all have any questions in reference to how Elon Musk utilized first principles thinking in order for him to save tons of money, $65 million, in order for him to develop space technology? And then now he's using it for battery technology. And there are other companies that, that are coming for his head, competing with him in order for them to produce products and cars that can last longer, have better battery life. But I'd say that's really impressive for you to be able to do that. And I'd say that we've been using first principles thinking for a lot of parts of our lives, but it's not something that, someone introduced to us using those specific terms. It's just us saying, hey, how can I get down to the core principles of this concept? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop the link, and I am going to see if anyone's interested in coming up so we could share this. Let's see. Give me a moment, guys. Let me see. Let's see. All right. Give me a moment. Here we go. Man, this is... I'm curious, coming into 2022, are there any things that you all feel like you could do on your own as opposed to paying someone else to conveniently do for you? Is there anything that you plan on limiting and cutting back on in order for you to save more money and operate less out of convenience and more out of efficiency? Here we go. If I could figure out how to do this link. Right. Okay. All right. All right. All right. So I've dropped the link in case any of you would like to come up and share maybe some of your experiences with first principles thinking, and maybe how you've used it in your life in order for it to help add value to your life. Because to think that, from 2002 to 2022, this man is worth $300 billion. $300 billion. And the technology that he's developed with him having rockets that are reusable, I mean, that was a game changer. That was an absolute game changer. So having rockets that are reusable and seeing how, and I've always been concerned about like the wastefulness that just happens with all this innovation. And just having rockets that can land back on Earth without having to be destroyed or not being lost there in orbit. I mean, I've always been curious about what happens with the material, the space material. I mean, excuse me, the rocket material that breaks part from the ship, and it almost seems like it just ends up just going around in orbit forever. And I'm not really certain exactly what happens, but I'm curious if any of you all maybe know more about that than I do, but I am not sure. And so I will move on for now to the concept of deductive reasoning, inductive reasoning, and abductive reasoning. So give me a moment. See, you all don't have no questions about first principles, so we will move on. I really appreciate you all being here. I am struggle streaming, but we're gonna make it work. All right. Looks like we have one of our brothers up here. All right. All right. How you doing, sir?
Doing well. Glad to be up on the panel. Thank you so much for pulling me up.
Oh, man. Pleasure to have you here. Pleasure to have you here. Yeah. So we have Before the Billions. You know, he's a celebrity out here.
Nowhere near it, man.
Man,
nowhere near it, man. But
I've really had some great time on your platform with us having our many discussions, and I can say that I've found community in what we're building here. So this is really great. And so, what can you say about first principles? What do you know about first principles? What can you say about it? What's your experience with it?
So I have no clue. Can you tell me them? Because I just came in.
No, it's fine. So like I was saying before, like this, and you can speak to this. So okay. Would you say that in tech you've experienced situations where people are using acronyms and terms that make people feel left out? It's like an inclusive group that uses terms where it makes them feel like they're part of an in group. And then if you don't know these terms or phrases, then you're part of an out group. So I work for an engineering firm. So, when we use terms like, SAP or maybe SOP or let me see, we could say point Kaizen. I mean, it's a number of different things that could be really said, but it's a lot of terms that might not be known by everyone specifically, especially acronyms, but it's something that maybe only the in group would really know what they mean. So first principles is one of the concepts where it just says, it's just breaking things down to the basic form. Imagine, I don't know if you've ever played with Legos before, right?
Yes.
All right. So when Legos come, they come in a box, right? Generally speaking, it's usually a box or some kind of plastic, right?
It's some kind of bag or a box. Yeah.
Right. So would you say like the core fundamentals of a Lego set is a block, right? Right. But then you have a series of blocks that you assemble and put together in order for you to create a said outcome, right?
The foundation.
Hold on. I don't even know if we, I want to say, okay. All right. I wanted to make sure that you're showing up. Okay. Yep. So it essentially is just like foundational items that come together in order for them to create like a big or a given outcome. So Elon Musk has used first principles in order for him to develop rocket technology, right? He discovered that the manufacturers, the aerospace manufacturers, were charging a lot of money in order for them to create rockets for him. And he said, hey, what do I need to do in order for me to figure out a way to create the same exact thing, given that I know or I have an idea of how these need to come together? So it's just working backwards to figure out, hey, what is present in this technology and what can we do in order for us to produce the same exact thing without having to pay somebody else for it? But it's an assumption-free method. So you can't take any previous knowledge that you've seen or that you understand from anywhere before. It's only like the things that are right there before you. It's like a dissection of a sort, you know. It's only the stuff that you have right before you.
Yeah, and to answer your first question is that yes, working in tech, you do have a lot of acronyms, a lot of terms that are used that people who are outside of it do not understand. I actually had to ask one of my old coworkers, how do you explain things to people who are not in tech? Putting it in layman's terms. You have to put it in the most simple way as possible. And one of my old bosses used to tell me is that explain it to me like I'm stupid. That's what he would say. He was like, explain it to me like I'm dumb, like I have no clue what's going on. And then that's how he's able to understand whatever you're trying to say. And he was an intelligent man. He got his CISSP, which is the certified security professional, right? So that is a very difficult exam to take, and also a very difficult exam to pass to get your certification. He said that he barely studied for it and he was able to get it. But he still will say, okay, you know what? I need to understand exactly what you're saying. So explain it to me in the foundation, right? And then far too often do we just feel lazy. That's really the biggest reason why we have acronyms. We just don't feel like having to say the whole thing. And that's really it. Like we have some acronyms like the SOC, right?
Yeah.
You like a SOC, you know, like the Security Operations Center, the NOC, the Network Operations Center, you know, the CISSP, you know, it's a whole bunch of different acronyms that you have just to shorten words up because you don't feel like having to say the whole thing out. And that does alienate some people because now you got to sit there and ask, what does that mean? And usually you'll be talking and then you're used to using these words, but then somebody will say, oh, well, I have no clue what it is, but I'm too nervous to say, what does this mean in the middle of a meeting? Right, and especially if you're actually in the office in a room full of people and you have no clue what they're talking about. And
Yeah.
my first job, I was like, man, they're talking over my head. I had to ramp up to understand what something means, and then you know they may say it, and then later on I forget what it means, and then now trying to have a whole conversation about it again. They already told me what it was before. So yeah, now what I do in order to combat that is to actually have some sort of dictionary. I create a dictionary for every company that I move to or whatever, just full of acronyms and words because people sometimes they just make up words. You know, it has like you know whatever they said like in a meeting one day, and they just created a term for it. So
Yeah. So given that you came from like the educational environment, right? So would you say that you use that whenever you came from like the theoretical environment, coming from school, then transitioning into the tech space, you definitely had to figure out a way for you to understand what they meant at that specific company compared to what you were taught in the classroom, right?
yes, because school does not teach you very much, not much of anything when it comes talking about when you get into the industry. That's what it's not only in tech, but it's also in all these other different careers. Yeah, pocket watching with JT, who says, yeah, you can have these career students, and you have like you know people who got their PhD, these professors and stuff like that, and they have no clue how to manage the clients that they get or anything like that. They don't have the industry knowledge. They don't have the practice of actually going into the career. So it's a complete shift when you're going from school to actually getting a job in the industry.
Yeah, yeah. So it's definitely important to build a bridge. One of the things I've also discovered is that what I'm hearing about people, especially as it pertains like to an understanding, is that people who actually use the most technical terms are not always regarded as being like the most attractive. And when I say attractive, like the people don't admire them. Like they said that, you know, our previous president had like a core following of people because whenever he spoke in simple terms. He didn't use terms that made anyone feel alienated. He could speak in the sense that a fifth grader could really understand. And that's a challenge of my own, because like I said earlier, I've used these concepts in order for me to make myself feel good, as far as like me saying, hey, I'm educated, I have higher level knowledge than everyone else. But then I discovered that it does alienate people and it makes people feel left out. And actually, TLA shared this with us in a live. He said that whenever you're having a conversation with anyone, if there are any words that you do not understand, stop for a second, ask them to tell you, what exactly does this mean? Or when you use this term, what do you mean? In order for you to be coming from a place of knowing exactly what they mean by saying it, as opposed to you assuming that they mean a specific thing. So I can say that, I appreciate that. So are you familiar with the concept of deductive reasoning, inductive reasoning, and abductive reasoning before the
I
day?
remember you explaining deductive reasoning on my platform a while back, like a month ago. Actually, no, 2 months ago. Actually, last year. When you really think about it, right? But no, I don't know the actual terms themselves, like what their meaning is. So do you mind enlightening me?
Okay, yeah. So we're gonna go over it right now. Let's see if I can do this. Give me a moment. Let's see. Okay. All right. Here we go. So, can you see this before the billions?
Yes, sir. Do you mind zooming in a little bit?
Oh yeah. You know what? I did remember that you told us. Let's see. Where we at? Some
It's good
more?
right. It's good right there.
Okay. All right. All right. So deductive reasoning. Here we go. We're on Merriam's dictionary. And deductive reasoning is deriving a conclusion by reasoning. It's a specific meaning in logic or interference. It's a conclusion that follows. It's a conclusion about particulars that follows general or universal premises, right? So an example of deductive reasoning is here. Okay, if a sandwich is defined as 2 slices of bread, or a split roll having a filling in between, and a hot dog is defined as a frankfurter, a frankfurter heated and served in a long split roll, then one would deduce that any hot dog served in a split roll is a sandwich. Now, I do remember on social media actually seeing this meme that asked, is a hot dog or is it a sandwich? I don't know if you saw that.
Yes, and some people say a hot dog is a hot dog. That's literally what they say. But it is sandwiched between two pieces of bread. But actually, when you really think about it, what if you get the bread and it's connected to each other? Does that equal 2?
Which bread? You talking about like not
You get a ballpark. You get the ballpark bread from.
Oh, you talking about
And it's still connected though, but then it's like you put the hot dog in between them, so it's not actually 2 pieces of bread; it's one bread. But then that's what they're saying, is that a split roll might be considered
a sandwich still, right?
2.
Yeah. So a split roll can be a sandwich, and a hot dog is defined as a frankfurter, and it's a frankfurter heated and served in a long split roll. But I think that's where you end up getting caught up in semantics. So this is an example that I gave earlier that says that, hey, you have to be in an appointment by 10 o'clock at the dentist, and it takes you 30 minutes for you to drive there from your house, right? From these 2 facts, you deduce that you will have to leave your house at 9:30 at the latest to be at the dentist on time. So that's deductive reasoning. So that's you backing into, like, you have an arrival time that you want to satisfy, but then you back into how long it's going to take for you to get there, and then ultimately you just discover how long or at what time you'll have to leave in order for you to arrive there. So,
and and to give the correct answer that you don't leave at 9:30 at the latest. You got to leave at like probably like 8 o'clock, 8:15 or something like that, because you're gonna have to walk inside, or they're gonna consider you late when you walking in at 10:05 or something like that. You're just not getting in there at the doctor's office.
And then you have to fill out paperwork too, right? So you have to
Exactly.
get there. So you get in there, you have to fill out
Exactly.
paperwork. And what I even discovered with what's going on, they can have a document that you're filling out online via an app or some kind of PDF that you're filling out. And then you still end up having to fill something out when you get there, verifying that your information is the same today as it was before. And I mean, I don't know. I guess it seems like, it doesn't make sense. But if you think about people who change jobs all the time, especially with like a dentist, the insurance information changes. So it can't be assumed that it's in place. And also it's to their benefit to make sure that they have the insurance information and not find themselves where they're trying to bill a policy that you no longer have, and then they're chasing you for the information.
Right.
So then we have this other concept called inductive reasoning. So now I had not actually heard of this term. I heard of deductive reasoning, but I had not heard of this term. And I have to say that, I find it that I never really saw value in really getting involved in the weeds and into these specific reasoning concepts specifically, because it was just not something that I had a personal relationship to. So I did not really invest no time into exploring and seeing all the various different concepts. But I am a curious person, so there are all kinds of different things that I try to think about and consider whenever I'm looking at life. And I call myself even doing like a lifetime study of people. So the people that I come across, I kind of take their circumstances, and then I look at the decisions that they've made, and then I try to come up with a reason why they might have done what they did, right? So inductive reasoning is whereas in deduction, the truth of the conclusion is guaranteed by the truth of the statements and the facts considered. Hence, the hot dog is served in a split roll, and a split roll with the filling in the middle is a sandwich. So induction is a method of reasoning involving an element of probability, right? So it says in logic, induction refers specifically to an inference of generalized conclusion from particular instances. In other words, meaning that you're forming a generalization based upon what is known or observed. For example, at lunch, you observed 4 or 6 of your coworkers ordering the same sandwich, right? From your observation, you then induce that the sandwich is probably good, and you decide to try it yourself. Now, induction is at play here since reasoning is based upon an observation of a small group as opposed to universal premises. Now, since I've given you the definition, would you say that you've observed this before in your lived experience?
Oh yeah, I think a good majority of us have. You know what I mean? Like, that's how we learn so many different things, is based off of observation, right? That's how we learn how to walk, talk, and everything else. So yeah.
Yeah. So that's interesting. So it's a little bit of probability. So I'd say it's more so you just bridging the gap. It's like you making an assumption based upon you seeing multiple people do the same thing. For instance, like camera equipment. I've noticed that with with my journey here on YouTube, once I've seen someone demonstrate to me that they're using a specific camera and I like the outcome or I like the way it looks, then I say to myself, okay, I've seen that this in practice looks this way. So then I can go ahead and conclude that the other people who were saying that this was a good product were right. And then now I can also say, I would like to purchase it based upon that. And I think that's part of like the whole influencer thing, when they start seeing I don't know if you've noticed it, like around the time products are released, like, I don't know if you've ever seen on YouTube where you see everyone doing like an iPhone product review. You're seeing everyone do like a gimbal or product review. And it just seems like it's like everyone's released at the same exact time, and it's not like something that's genuine. So those are the things that I'm a little bit wary of, because I feel like those guys have an incentive in order for them to push a product. But whenever I see that someone is not specifically pushing a product and they're just saying, hey, this is something that I'm doing, it's adding value to my life, and as a result, it's something that's a value add to them. So now they're doing it. So here we go right here. We have abductive reasoning. So abductive reasoning is the third method of reasoning, abduction, and it's defined as syllogism. It's in which the major premise is evident. The major premise is evident, but the minor premise and therefore the conclusion is only probable, right? It involves forming a conclusion from the information that is known. A familiar example of abduction is a detective's identification of a crime scene by piecing together evidence, right? It says in our everyday life, you may be puzzled by a half-eaten sandwich on the kitchen counter. Abduction would lead you to the best explanation, right? Your reasoning might be that your teenage son made the sandwich and then saw that he was late for work. In a rush, he put the sandwich on the counter and left it, right? So
that's straight out of one of those 90s movies where like they be like, honey, I'm late for work. And then they leave the whole breakfast on the table.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if I've ever done that. I had a system where whenever I leave the house, I always have an apple. And so I would grab it and then I would eat the apple on my way to work. And do you have any scenarios where you can say that you've drawn these kind of conclusions?
Where I've been that late that I couldn't, I drive and eat. So I just gonna, I'm gonna just drive and hold one hand on the steering wheel, eat my apple or whatever. But, so I never actually have done that specifically. But I have forgotten things because I'm trying to rush.
Yeah.
Most definitely have done that.
Yeah. I can tell you guys a funny story with me leaving the house. I remember when I'm sitting up here thinking about an apple, when I'm leaving the house, there was one time. So I have a pickup truck, an older pickup truck. It's my first pickup truck. I remember you said you had a pickup truck before the billions.
It's the exact same scenario. I have an older pickup truck. It's my first vehicle ever.
Yeah. So let me tell you what happened, right? So I'm driving to work. So I live about 40 minutes away from work, right? So my pickup truck is older, and what I would do at a certain point is I would buy the belts for the car and just put them inside the vehicle. And so whenever they go bad, I could just change them out. So I'm generally a mechanically inclined guy. So this one specific day, what happened was I'm driving down the road and all of a sudden I'm going up a hill and all of a sudden the truck loses power, stops propelling up the hill, right? So I move over and I pop the hood. And then I look and I see one of the belts had snapped. It was the alternator belt, right? So I knew that I had seen a belt behind my seat that I had there that I had not replaced yet. So I knew that there was a high likelihood that belt was there, right? So it was an unsafe area early in the morning, maybe like 7:30, right before 8 o'clock. I'm literally maybe about 10 minutes away from my building at work, right? So I'm actually at a deep incline, right? So my truck is not actually at the top of the hill. It's like maybe about 20 feet, 30 feet away from like the top of the hill, right? So I'm there and I'm looking under the hood, and I've been in all kinds of crazy scenarios. There's all kinds of different stories of places that I found myself in because of my adventurous mindset. Anyway, so I'm standing there, a lot of traffic going by, people are going around me in order for them to go to work. And I knew it was not safe enough for me to actually change the belt out right there, right? But I mean, if I really needed to, I would try to figure something out, but I just knew it wasn't safe enough because most of the people, they're rushing, they're putting on makeup, they might be shaving on their way to work, might be eating. So there's all kinds of unsafe things that are already happening on this major road. So I didn't want to put myself in a situation where I'm standing in front of the car working on it and then somebody hits me from behind and I end up underneath the pickup, right? So what happens is I look to see if there's anyone around that could potentially help me. So my pickup truck is older. It's like an 88, right? So it maybe weighs maybe 3,000 pounds, right? So I knew I could potentially push it, but I was on the incline. So there was no way I could actually push it by myself, right? So what happens is I see this guy jogging, right? So I see him jogging. Like, mind you, right before, as I was coming to work, I had eaten an apple. I just happened to grab it. Normally I don't eat in the morning, but this specific day I decided to grab an apple. So I see this guy, he's jogging, and I'm sitting up here saying to myself, I'm like, man, I don't really want to ask him because I know he's in the middle of his workout. So I said, hey man, can you help me out? I'm trying to get this truck to the top of the hill so I can turn into that neighborhood right there. You know, are you able to help me out? He says, man, I'm about 5 miles into my workout. I said, man, I don't know how I'm going to do this. So he says, but I'll help you out. I'll help you out. Right. So him and I think he gets it. He goes to the back. He goes to the back and I'm sitting and I'm standing there at the door pushing the truck. So mind you, it's a little bit cold. So it's maybe about 40 degrees. So it's about 40 degrees and I've only eaten an apple and he's in the middle of a 5-mile workout. And then here I am trying to ask him to help me out. So man, I do everything in my power. I push it. We're pushing it. And we get it right there close to the top. And so now I'm in the far right lane and I need to go to essentially the middle lane. It's a 5-lane road. So I needed to go to the middle lane in order for me to actually turn into the subdivision, right? So somehow or another, we have enough strength between the two of us in order for us to get the truck rolling. And we just happen to get lucky. There's a little small opening in the traffic. And so then I go ahead and move the car over and then I tell him, hey, appreciate it. And so now the truck has momentum. It has enough momentum for me to go down into the subdivision. And there was like a roundabout. I end up going backwards on a roundabout to the left in order for me to get to the left side. So I could be in an area where someone could see me if they were coming and they wouldn't immediately hit the back of the pickup truck and taking me under. If anything, they would see my body in front of the pickup. But so as I'm pulling up to the spot to slow down, and I get out and I feel my legs, and my legs are like shaking, right? And what happened in that moment was that my blood sugar, had significantly come down. But had I not had that apple, I probably would have been in a tougher situation because I wouldn't have had enough energy for me to push up a hill when it's cold outside. And then now I'm exerting a whole bunch of energy, and then, enough energy in order for me to ultimately pull into that neighborhood. So that one apple that I happened to pick up on my way out the door spared me because I had enough energy for me to push the pickup that day, So that was a funny story. Now, have you come across any situations like that with your pickup truck? Any crazy stories?
You know what? I've had so many issues, man. I'll tell you this one, right? Is that I would call myself trying to sneak up to Tennessee with my girlfriend. This was years ago. And I was like, okay, you know what? My girlfriend had been complaining, we don't go on vacations and stuff like that. When we try to say we don't take me on a vacation or take me out and stuff. So I said, okay, let's go ahead and do it. But I was broke. I only had like $200. That's all I had in my account.
Yeah.
Because I had a job as a temp worker at a warehouse, and so I said, okay, you know what? We're gonna drive my truck up to Tennessee, to Chattanooga, and I'm not gonna tell my parents about it or anything like that. So we got all the way up there, and we went up to Lookout Mountain, had a good time. We went over, and we went over to the mall. Right, of all places, with $200. I spent most of my money on gas. Before we gonna go to the mall, we walk in there, and then she buys a few things. I'm like, okay, this is about the end of the road right here. How much money I got? So then we leave from the mall, and then we're driving back to Atlanta. Right, so it was at nighttime. We got up there. We went up there super early in the morning. We went to the museum. We went to Lookout Mountain. We went to the mall. Came back, and then it was like scorching hot. So we're driving down, and then my girlfriend says, "Hey, it smells like eggs." So I said, "Eggs?" Like, no, it's just the area that you drive past somewhere, and it might smell like trash or something,
Yeah.
and then it's not really your car, but it's just outside. Man, when I tell you, it smelled like eggs the whole way down. It didn't make no better because it was scorching hot. It was like I ain't had no air conditioning either.
Oh,
So
wow.
it was so hot. I mean, there's like 80 degrees or something like that outside. And we're driving, and we make it back to Atlanta, thankfully. Unfortunately, the truck, I needed a new battery for it. The battery was stank. It was actually going dead on me and stuff, and I needed to go ahead and change it. And I had just spent all of my money going to all those places. So I went to all them places, spent all that money. The $200 I have less than $5 left.
Uh-huh.
Trying to impress, trying to be out with my girlfriend and stuff like that, and sneak. And what even made it even worse is that same day my dad was in the hospital.
Oh, wow.
So I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm over here with only $5, but I gotta drive my truck that it's smelling like gas. I drop off my girlfriend and I go see my dad. And then because it was a serious accident he had, and I was like, okay, I need to go see him. And then I had to come across paying to get out of the parking deck at the hospital.
Oh, wow.
I was sitting here like, oh my gosh, I only got $5 left. And I end up, just so happens that because it was at night, it was late at night, the parking deck lets you out.
Uh-huh.
I gotta call him back in a second. But yeah, the parking deck lets you out. Later on, like a few weeks later, I tell my dad, like, Dad, you know what? Not even a few weeks, it's like a few days later. I tell my dad, like, hey Dad, I went up to Tennessee with my girlfriend. Why didn't you tell me? I was like, I was trying to sneak up there. And I tell him, like, hey, you know what, Dad? I need some money so that way I can get a new battery.
Oh, man.
So my dad's like, nah, you better ask your uncle. For it's like $60 or something like that. Man, $60 ain't nothing. I'm like, it's a lot of money to somebody who made like $200. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyway, what happened was my mom had to help me pay for it.
Yeah. Yeah, man, it's wild, man. Like I've been in some wild situations, man. Like, so I drive a hybrid now, right? So I have a Prius, and it's crazy. So I purchased a good amount of cars, and I felt like I developed a system on how to buy cars, right? And maybe I'll do a video later on about how I really deduce like how to really buy a car that's reliable. So I'll kind of give you the quick and dirty explanation, right? So the way I look at buying a car is only worth 100,000 miles, right? That's like the full value of a car. So you take how much you paid for, how much it's worth when it's brand new, and you divide it by 100,000, right? So if whenever you buy the car at 50,000 miles, it should be no more than half the value of the full price of the car, right? So you take that, and that kind of helps you determine whether or not you're getting a good deal or not, right? So there was a situation in reference to cars. There was a situation where, so Priuses have two batteries. They have like a big battery that's behind the seat, and then they also have a small battery, which is like a regular car type of battery. So I purchased this Prius, and it was my second one. I had purchased the first one, and no sight unseen, right? I only took the video. They had a video online where they showed them pulling it forward, them pulling it back, rolling the windows down, showing the AC, showing that there are no lights on the dash, right? So I trusted the video and said, okay, last time it worked for me, so the second time that I'm doing it, it should work again. So I get there, start the car up, and maybe within like 5 minutes, the lights come on the dash. mind you, I'm in Miami, right? So I live in Raleigh, which is 12 hours away, right? So I'm 12 hours away, and I'm saying to myself, okay, what do I need to do in order for me to figure out what's wrong with the car, right? So I'm start looking at videos, and I'm riding with someone. I'm looking at videos about what this code might be and what you need in order for you to figure out what to do. So I leave Miami. The plan that I actually had. So the year before, this was in like this is 19. This is 19. In 2018, I purchased a Prius, right? That car got broken into, guy left blood in it. I'll tell that story another day, right? And so I sold that car to the insurance company and purchased another one in 2019. And this is the 2019 one. So I had plans because in 2018, I didn't have an opportunity to hit the beach in Miami. I said, okay, 2019, I'm going to spend at least a day on the beach, checking it out, right? Get in the car, discover that issue. And I said, man, I can't go to the beach. I need to go back to North Carolina as fast as possible. So what happens is I drive maybe about an hour or so to like maybe Palm Beach or West Palm Beach. And I find a Target there, and the Target there had I don't know if you're familiar with the OBD2 sensor.
Yep, that's exactly what I have.
Right. So I have like a little almost like I can't remember what it's called, but it's a little device that you plug into the OBD2 sensor and you pair it with your phone in order for you to see what's wrong with your car, right? So I found someone online who showed a video of how there was an application that did the same exact thing, and they were using it for the Prius in order for them to know which batteries were messed up, right? So I bought that item. I was lucky to get it for like $10. Mm-hmm. I was lucky to get it for like $10. And so here I am, literally not knowing what's going to happen. I know that I just need to make it to North Carolina. So I'm driving, and what would happen was I'd be driving, and then there would be like certain periods where the car would like lose power. And I'm just saying to myself, man, please don't break down on me. Please don't break down. So here I am. I'm in Florida, right? So I'm in Florida, and well, hybrids don't have an alternator, right? So it's a strange thing because they regenerate the power whenever you hit the brakes and go down the hill. But it's similar to what you're talking about. So I'm driving, and I would notice they would lose power. I would pull over, turn it off, and then I would turn it back on, and then it would go without no issue. So I'm like, I don't know what's going on. Whatever. We're going to chart on, right? So. And it's a 12-hour ride, like I said, right? So I'm trying to make this ride as fast as possible. Now, this is overnight. So it's like a Friday when I pick up the car. So then I'm driving all night Friday in order for me to make it back here to North Carolina. And what happened was every time I would drive it and then get to a certain point where it started to lose power. I'd turn it off, turn it back on, and then it was fine. So then the person that was riding with me, I told him the same exact thing. I said, if you notice that it's losing power, you just turn it off and then turn it back on, and it's fine. And mind you, it takes 8 hours for you to actually go through Florida. And by the time you actually arrive in Savannah, it's been 8 hours from the time that you started, if you're going straight through, right? And then it takes about maybe 4 hours to go from Savannah here to North Carolina, right? So when the other person was driving, didn't have no issues. I was able to rest, no worries, right? So anyway, long story short, we make it back to North Carolina without no hitch. And one of the things that I did in order for me to prepare myself for this wild ride is to get AAA, and I would get AAA that covered me for 200 miles. So I knew that if anything, I needed to get within 200 miles of home in order for me to get the car all the way there, right? So I get the car back here, and I start driving it around. I drive it around for maybe like 2 or 3 days. And I find online that said, hey, you could take the battery apart and then clean off the terminals and then put this stuff on there in order for you to clean up the terminals so you can make sure the battery is good. And what I did was I bought this dielectric. I don't know if you're familiar with like dielectric. There's like dielectric grease.
Yeah, so and what kind of gel-like thing, and then you put it on top of the terminal.
Electrical connections, yeah. So it's like something you would use for like, you could use it for like a battery terminal. It's not. It's something that just allows connections to be electric connections to not seize up or what have you. So here I am putting like a whole bunch of dielectric grease on each one of the terminals. So I'd taken the battery apart, There's 28 batteries inside, 28 small batteries inside the hybrid. Taking the batteries apart, cleaned off the terminals, did the procedure they showed me online, put them back together. So I'm patching it up, driving it from the house, right? It's been 3 days since I've been back home. I'm driving it down the street with my son, and I get to the end of the neighborhood and I hear a pop, right? The battery explodes in the back, right? So smoke is coming out of the battery, and I'm looking back and I'm saying, man, I don't know if this car's gonna blow up, right? So I keep on driving, right? So I keep on driving, and I noticed when the battery popped that I lost power, right? So then what happened was the battery exploded. I was able to call my insurance company. They towed the car back into my driveway in a manner where I could actually work on it without no issue. And long story short, I used YouTube, right? Used YouTube in order for me to figure out how to fix and replace the battery. At that time, I actually just swapped out the batteries that exploded and kept the other batteries. But the way the batteries in the hybrid work is they have a relationship with each other. So you can't have one battery with 7 volts and then another battery with like 8 volts, you know, because they all have to have a relationship with each other. And so it's just like whenever you have any electronic item where you can't take an old battery and a new battery and mix it together. So that's essentially what it was. And so I drove it for I replaced a couple of batteries that exploded, put them in there, and thought I was fine. Drove it for maybe about 6 months. And then in 2020, in like February, the battery explodes again, right? So I'm like, damn. So then I ended up doing another procedure where I swapped out all the batteries. And after I swapped out all the batteries, I did a little bit of the service stuff. Then I was good. It's been good ever since February 2020. But, you know, so those are some of the wild things that I've embarked upon. And I've used the logic where I say, okay, hey, this is what I do know. And based upon what I do know is that, hey, the battery is demonstrating these qualities right here. YouTube is telling me that this is what I should look for. So if this is not present, then I need to make sure that I need to do this, that, and the other in order for me to have that same conclusion that I saw online. So those are the things that I saw myself, and it's just been interesting. But yeah, man. But yeah, that's my story right there.
Yeah, man. And thank you for sharing it too, because that's something I can really resonate with. I mean, like I've been through a lot of similar issues as well. You know, I know with like electric cars, they have like, you know, the battery is pretty much the engine.
Yeah.
You know, but that's an electric car. I don't know how it is for hybrids. But
yeah, it's that's like essentially like the primary transmission, but yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, man. So Cynthia, thank you for having me up, man. I gotta get a call back.
That's cool. That's cool, man. Like, thanks a lot. I appreciate you coming up, man. Thanks a lot. And I look forward. Are you going live today, or are you doing anything?
Probably not today. I have a few things I have to do first, as far as business wise, and doing some consultations and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then spending time with family. So,
cool.
But yeah, man.
Cool.
So I might go live tomorrow, around like maybe 12.
Gotcha. All right, cool. Look forward to checking you out next time, man. Thanks a lot. I appreciate you coming up. Have a good one.
Appreciate it.
Later. All right. So, but yeah, so those are some of the stories that I have where I've used first principles thinking in order for me to figure out what I could do. Man, I have some wild stories to tell about my my hybrid and some of the things that that I've had to learn through having that car. But man, you know, I have to say that, you know, as scary as it's been for me with having a hybrid and really just trying to figure that out using something along the lines of first principles thinking, it's helped me out. It's helped me out a lot for me to employ these ideas about how I should go about figuring out or solving any issue. If anyone else is interested in coming up, I'm open to it. But that's what I wanted to share with you all in reference to first principles thinking. So what I can say is there's some challenges that have been expressed about using first principles thinking. Is that it can be easy. First principles thinking can be easy to describe, but quite difficult in practice. One of the primary obstacles is our tendency to optimize form rather than function. The story of the suitcase provides a perfect example. It says, in ancient Rome, soldiers used leather messenger bags and satchels to carry food while riding across the countryside. At the same time, the Romans had many vehicles with wheels like chariots, carriages, wagons. And yet, for thousands of years, nobody thought to combine the bag and the wheel. The first rolling suitcase was invented in 1970 by Bernard Sadow. And he was hauling his luggage through an airport and saw a worker rolling a heavy machine on a wheeled skid. And it said that throughout the 1800s and 90s, leather bags were specialized for particular uses: backpacks for school, rucksacks for hiking, suitcases for travels. Zippers were used in bags and were added in 1938. And it says nylon backpacks were first sold in 1967. Despite these improvements, oops, hold on. I just realized something, guys. I'm not sharing my screen. Let's see. I just realized that despite these improvements, the form of the bag remained largely the same. It says innovators spent all of the time making slight iterations on the same thing. What looks like innovation is often an iteration of previous forms rather than an improvement of the core function. While everyone else was focused on how to build a better bag, Sadow just considered how to store and move things more efficiently, function. So I think that's really interesting. We have a way of complicating things for ourselves, and this is how James Clear describes how to think for ourselves, right? It says the human tendency for imitation is a common roadblock to first principles thinking. He says most people envision a future they project the current form forward rather than projecting the function forward and abandoning the form. For instance, when criticizing technological progress, some people ask, where are the flying cars? Here's the thing, we have flying cars, they're called airplanes. Right? People who ask this question are focused on a form, a flying object that looks like a car, right? And they overlook the function, transportation by flight, right? And it says, then what is Elon Musk referring to when he says that people often live life by analogy? This is what Elon Musk is referring to when he says people often live life by analogy. We are looking for a flying car and not recognizing the flying airplane that we have before us, right? It says, be wary of the ideas you inherit. Old conventions and previous forms are often accepted without question, and once accepted, they set a boundary around creativity. This difference is one of the key distinctions between continuous improvement and first principles thinking. Continuous improvement tends to occur within the boundaries set by the original vision. By comparison, first principles thinking requires you to abandon your allegiance to previous forms and to put the function front and center, what you're trying to accomplish. This is the functional outcome you are looking for. What is the functional outcome that you're looking to achieve? It says, optimize the function, ignore the form. This is how you learn to think for yourself. That's amazing, And I'd say that we're guilty of it. I mean, watching watching Back to the Future and just seeing the idea of a flying car, I've been looking for that for a long time myself. And we can say that it's yet to come, but I've also seen iterations of cars that are airplanes that actually fold up to be a car that operates and functions on the road. And it's possible, but as far as people having significant access to it, or as a greater part of the population having access to it, I think it's limited. And so this is something that I believe is an impediment. Here we go. I need we're struggle streaming, and I forgot that I need to zoom in. Okay, so here we go, right here. So it says the power of first principles. Ironically, perhaps the best way to develop cutting edge ideas is to start by breaking things down to the fundamentals, like we stated before. Even if you're trying to develop innovative ideas, understanding the first principles of your field is smart use of your time. Without a grasp of the basics, there is little chance of mastering the details that make the difference at elite levels of competition. Amazing, And he's saying that every innovation, including the most groundbreaking ones, require a long period of iteration and improvement. The company at the beginning of this article, SpaceX, ran many simulations, made thousands of adjustments, and required multiple trials before they figured out how to build an affordable, reusable rocket. Right? First principles thinking did not remove the need for continuous improvement, but it does alter the direction of improvement. Without reasoning by first principles, you spend your time making small improvements to a bicycle rather than a snowmobile. First principles thinking sets you on a different trajectory. If you want to enhance an existing process or belief, continuous improvement is a great option. If you want to learn how to think for yourself, reasoning from first principles is the best way to do it. So I hope you all gleaned some great insight from that article. So we're going to add Mr. Boy to our conversation here. So how you doing, Mr. Boy? I can't hear you. It says, it doesn't say your mic is muted. Maybe, let's see, maybe there's something here. Let's see. No. Okay, so let's see. All right. Can you hear me, Mr. Boy? I cannot hear you. Okay. But yep, so first principles is an interesting concept. I can say that, given that I've seen what it's done for Elon Musk and his companies, I just feel like the sky's the limit, and there's endless possibilities with using this type of reasoning to dissect and unpack exactly how something is created, and to see how I could use this same technology in order for me to create something of my own. And looks like you dropped off, and I think it's cool. I'm going to drop the link one last time to see if any of you would like to share with me your experience maybe with this similar technology. Otherwise, we will be able to wrap it up. And I've enjoyed our time together. So my call of action to you all is, take a look. I'm going to put this link in the description for this article, and I'll put the link for this deductive reasoning page. Deductive reasoning, inductive reasoning, and abductive reasoning. So So today we covered first principles thinking, and we also discussed how deductive reasoning works, inductive reasoning works, and abductive reasoning. So what I implore you all to consider is think about technologies or think about improvements that you can make to things that are before you that you maybe use, whether it's something that you do on your own or it's something that you are having someone else create for you. Just think about some of the things that you could do on your own that allow you to save some resources, similar to Elon Musk. So yeah, we have Miss Melissa Jane here with us. She
How are
is
you?
the tech extraordinaire. I'm doing well. Welcome,
Awesome.
welcome.
I've been watching on and off while I was having my lunch and stuff. So,
Oh yeah.
I guess it's dinner at this time.
Oh yeah.
But so yeah, go ahead.
So are you familiar with this concept of first principles thinking?
Not really. This is all very brand new to me, but I just wanted to come by and just show you some love, show you some support here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's all right.
So let me ask you a question. So share with us what do you do on your channel? So Melissa Jane, the digital tech. Let me see. I don't know why I can't see. There we go. Digital tech and talk.
Yeah. So
Right.
my channel is my name, Melissa Jane, and what I do, my primary thing is to help people with their social media tech, with their streaming tech, and any other, let's call them soft tech applications, online applications, browser based for the most part. And there are a lot of people that are out there that might be over 40, 50 that still struggle a little bit with the tech. So that's where I come in. And I always like to give a few tips each time I do my show. And my show is the regular live show is Tuesdays and Thursdays, 8 p.m. Eastern. And then I will be doing clips throughout the other days of the week, and also showing some of my older videos, which has a lot of good content about different topics. So it should be pretty interesting. Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, I've been on your channel, and I've saw from going on your platform some of the different ways that I could use StreamYard here. And I was struggle streaming today, and it's interesting. A lot of people make it look easy, and it's definitely a challenge. I had some of my own challenges today. Right before I went live. And,
that always happens right before you go live, right?
right. I mean, literally, right when I went live, my computer was trying to reset the password, and it wouldn't fire out. Went into like a file vault mode or something weird. But
wow.
Yeah, so it's been interesting. But yeah, so what can you say? What can you say you've discovered through using this technology? I'm sure you have some suggestions for me.
Yeah, I have one. I'd have one for you, and
yes.
it's not nothing bad. It's just I usually like to do a did you know, because a lot of people know, but some people don't. And if it's your first time, then you may not know. But you have the live stream, the live with StreamYard overlay. That's the top and the bottom, and then you also have the logo, the StreamYard logo. So I'm going to assume that you're using the free version of StreamYard. Is that correct?
I am.
Okay,
yes.
so that's fine. So with that, I think you're going to see the powered by StreamYard duck logo in the top right of your screen. But I believe that you may be able to remove the overlay. So if you want to just go ahead and give that a try, if you want to go ahead and share just like you were sharing before.
There we go. All right, share my screen. Here we go. This is what being coachable looks like right here. All right, here we go. Let's see. Stop stream here.
And hi to all you guys in the chat, and Happy New Year to you as well.
Okay, hold up. Overlays. Delete overlay. Oh,
there we go. So at least it's not so obvious that you are using the free version. You can hide that. You can't put your own overlay on with the free version. But once you're ready to graduate, there's just so many more options. But that's a little bit of a cleaner look for you.
I appreciate it. Yeah, it was definitely there. And I went live for the first time earlier today.
For the first time, you're doing well for the first time.
Yeah, today's my very first time, bringing people up. But I did like a live where I was celebrating the New Year, but I had to delete it because copyright stuff. I don't want. No.
Oh, right, got you.
So yeah, that's cool. So are you using Stream Deck with yours?
No, I'm just using StreamYard by itself right now.
Yeah.
I've used other streaming applications in the past. I have more experience with vMix. Have you heard of vMix?
V is in Victor?
Yeah. V is in Victor. It's a paid software.
Okay.
And you've heard of OBS, right?
Yes. I have StreamYard's OBS, but it runs my computer even harder than this.
Yeah. So vMix is a little bit like OBS. Except of course OBS is free version, but because I've been streaming for several years, I was using vMix to do a lot of sophisticated stuff. It does run your computer hard, but StreamYard is so good, and it has so many features that it kind of, let's say, knocks vMix out of the water on certain things, like bringing people up. vMix is not so easy with that.
Oh wow.
So definitely, StreamYard has really, really come a long way. So I think I've been streaming for about, I'm going to say 6 or 7 years.
Oh, really?
But I haven't been growing my channel in all of that time, which is kind of like that was a big waste of time not to have been growing my channel. So only since I met the lead attorney, and we just came off of a session with him in his Patreon while you were on. But it's only since I met him in the last 4, 5, 6 months that I decided, it's time to grow this channel. So,
yeah, there's a lot to learn, and like I said, just about everything that I learned, even pulling up my thumbnail. So I was trying to figure out how to pull up a thumbnail for a live. I had to look online on YouTube in order to figure that out. So it's really interesting. But yeah, I really appreciate you with the information that you're sharing. As a result of you, I joined that StreamYard group yesterday.
Okay. All right.
So I joined that group, and I saw that suggestion that you made for you to have people who are cammed up, have them present, and then the people who don't have their cameras on, just have those people on the side. So I think that's a great idea. I wonder even how long it would take them to actually deploy that idea.
Yeah, there's a couple of people that liked it. I think it might depend on how many people think it's a really good idea, as well as they're trying to keep their platform real simple. They're really trying to keep it easy, and I think they could implement something like that fairly easily because they already have certain views already available. All they may need to do is add one more. So we'll see. I hope that they do implement it. They do have a StreamYard town hall I think it's once or twice a month on a Sunday, like around 8 or 9 o'clock Eastern.
Okay.
And that's when they usually talk about what's coming up next. That's where you can make your suggestions, and they talk about that. So I usually like to watch that. I mean, StreamYard is just doing so many different things. They have a lot of different educators, we'll call them, who present different days of the week. And I like to watch all of them, and then I will kind of like summarize what all of the different people are saying, and then bring it to my platform. So that's how I'm kind of implementing the stuff that not everybody has the time to look at all the different shows. And what I try to do is do a little bit of homework for everybody else.
That's cool. Yeah. So I mean, for me, I've learned a lot from going on your platform, and
that's awesome.
And one of the things too that you really don't know, like I was struggling for me to figure out, I was able to figure out the layout, but then I didn't know that I had to select the layout, then select share in order for me to actually share my screen with a given layout. So that was a little bit of an adjustment. But
a lot of times,
go ahead.
A lot of times people just learn just like how you're doing, just by practicing, just by doing it. Just by watching a video, and say, okay, I got that. And then when you actually do it, that's where you realize, okay, maybe I haven't got it quite, but you just got to do it a few times. I mean, and I'm not perfect. I don't say that I have it all together, because sometimes when I'm trying to share what StreamYard is doing, because you're literally sharing the same application that you're trying to explain, and then you get that feedback going on, which is not a good look.
Yeah, I forgot what they call it. That inception, even that inception window. I don't know what it does. Where it just does like an endless loop.
Yes, like the vortex, like Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Another question for you, since you talked about that. Are you just using one monitor, or do you have more than one monitor?
So that's the other part. I had a second monitor that I was setting up right before the live. So I have a docking station that allows me to have 3 monitors, right?
Oh, right.
And in my docking station, so I have 3 monitors upstairs in my room where I do my work, my regular work. And then here in the office, I only had 1 monitor, and I had a second monitor that I was setting up right before with VGA. And man, I could not get it to work. Like I said, I couldn't get it to work, and just the computer started doing whatever it wanted, and then I had noise. But yeah, so that's what happened. Yeah, so I do have a second monitor. So after this, I'll be working to get that going. Yeah. Otherwise, I had to figure out how to bring my 3 monitors from upstairs, bring them down here, in order for me to have the monitors here. But I kind of like the idea of like separating like my work setup from my personal setup. So
and you only need one. I would say you only need to have one. It would make such a big difference if you have your laptop and then just expand it to a second monitor. Then essentially you have 2.
Yeah, but my challenge is that my laptop is making that noise. Remember when we were talking about that last night?
Oh, yes. Got you. All right. Well.
So that's the challenge, right? So, that's why you have to build it as we fly it. And so I was fortunate to be able to get another microphone set up in order for me to do it. So, yeah. It was wild because I purchased a laptop in 2020, and then the new laptop came out in 2021. And so it's all, you just have to take whatever you have and just struggle stream. So,
well, at least your audio sounds real clear to me today. It sounds really good.
Yeah, so I'm using a different mic setup. So yeah,
nice.
So we have 2 new additions. So we have Mr. Boy, and then I have Mr. Bernard. You familiar with Mr. Bernard? And, Mr. Boy is actually my nephew. So
I think I saw Mr. Boy one time on some channel. So it's all in the family.
So good to meet you, bro.
Good to meet you,
Mr. Boy.
Yeah, so he was on Wealth Engineering, I think. No, Wally's platform.
That was with Wally. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I just came up here to mess with Melissa, because everything you saying, Cynthia, it just still gives her more reason to be training. Because when I get my 2 monitors hooked up, I'm gonna be calling her. I don't know what she thinking. I don't know why she playing. She know I'm gonna be calling her straight up. I'm like, hey, we about to go FaceTime. You need to help me hook this up. So bro, I'm just telling you this, Cynthia. I came up here just to strictly pick with her. Because I'm telling you and Mr. Boy, I'm telling you, she knows her stuff. Bros, she know her stuff.
Yeah, and she, know what I'm saying? She saved me. I was sitting up here looking like a newbie, like a textbook newbie.
Don't worry, I'm gonna be right along with you, bro. Don't even worry.
So yeah, man. So are you familiar with this concept of first principles thinking by any chance, or do you have like a different understanding of it, Mr. Bernard?
No, I was not. I learned a lot. I was just up here listening because I caught you on the way in coming from shopping with the wife. And so I was like, well, I said, man, this stuff is getting deep. I was like, I need to be near a pad or something.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, I think the best way to describe it is like a Lego set, Like a Lego set it consists of a bunch of different blocks that make one big picture, one big image, right? And if you just break it down to the individual building blocks, that's essentially what first principles, the concept of first principles is like going to like the foundational blocks and say, hey, what were the blocks that are on the very first layer?
Okay.
Like, what do we need to do to create that environment, and then just working your way back up? That's essentially what it is.
Okay.
But
But
yeah,
I've got a question. So, you say it's just like Lego blocks, but somebody has to build the individual blocks. You know what I mean? Like at what point is it, sorry, it's raining a lot here. At what
Mhm.
point is it like, are you the block maker? You know what I mean? At what point are you the CEO of Legos that other people are using to build the blocks? Because that's where I'm trying to be in terms of that kind of thinking is I want to be the CEO of Lego and everybody uses my blocks. You know what I mean? Because as much as we're building off of our blocks, somebody's making money for each. That's 50 cents a block, each block we're using. You know what I mean? So
yeah. I mean, you just think about the different colors of Lego, right? So like they're all blocks, but they're all different colors. So if you could just figure out a way for you to be the source of the yellow blocks, be a source of the red blocks, be a source of the blue blocks, and then those various different colors come together. The green blocks, they come together in order for them to create like a said product. But it's just about figuring out how you can end up in the middle, end up being the person that the people need in order to deliver the said outcome. So that's what I've discovered, and it's an interesting concept, but it's not new. It's not new, and I think a lot of us have been using this type of logic, but we just didn't notice it because, like I said, even the process of preparing a meal, it's the same exact thing. It's like you take ingredients that you could buy at a restaurant, and then now you create these same exact meal at home by going to the grocery store for you to get the individual ingredients, and then you prepare them, and then you have the same product that comes out at the end. So it's the same exact ideology.
and then another thing with the analogy with the airplane about what's a flying car. At the end of the day, I still want a flying car. You know what I mean? Like with the airplane, I have to go when American Airlines says I'm going to fly. You know what I mean? Whereas with the flying car, so at what point do you stop compromising? Because taking an airplane is a compromise to a flying car. You know what I mean? Because everybody here would like to skip traffic and just go over everybody and all of that. So at what point do you stop the compromise of like the airplane and actually dig into getting this flying car product of yours?
Yeah. So what I've been observing, because I'm a tech guy. So what I've been observing, you're familiar with drones? Yeah. So what they actually have, they have giant drones that they have out here. So imagine like a giant drone, and that drone, that those propellers, those 6 propellers of props would be attached to like a pod. I've actually even seen one where you have a pod that's dropped onto like the bottom of a car, and then you would drive that to like the airport, and then you would have that same pod top portion of the vehicle transferred over to the flying uh, bottom, and then you would have the ability for you to be able to fly. So that's the technology that they have coming up. But a lot of that stuff is $500,000, $1 million for you to have those
I was
innovations.
speaking
But
like metaphorically, you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
in terms of they say, hey, look at the technology. It's already here. There already is a flying car. It's called the airplane. But I'm asking, should you always have that kind of mentality as to where if there's the basic level of it, like, if you want to eat some food and they say, okay, here's dry oatmeal. It's food, eat it every day. You know what I mean? How often should you have that mentality of if it's food, just eat it? Doesn't matter if it's the same thing every day or if it's different or if it's, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess I would say you just have to really explore and see which one serves you the most. Because you could take dry oatmeal and you could turn it into regular oatmeal, or you could take that same oatmeal and turn it into granola, right? And so you have that same product, and you can turn it into multiple outputs or multiple variations of the same product. So I think that it just depends on what your overall desire, your destination is. So I mean. Understanding like the core items or products that are required in order for you to have that technology. Because one of the things that I even think about right now, right, is like our core dependence on lithium battery technology, right? So without us having these batteries, like how much can we really function out here in society? I mean, as much as things have changed, I don't know how much we could really function out here without power. You know, when you have battery technology, you can even have like solar power banks, various different deviations of more of the same thing. I think we're very dependent on this energy source from like lithium itself. And, you know, you could look at it various different ways. You could look at where they're getting the lithium from, and you can say, you know, what's happening with that community where they're getting this stuff from. Or you could say to yourself, hey, how can I create something that is like a responsible, ethical way of managing this technology? So it just all depends on your specific path that you'd like to follow. But yeah, I think just having the ability to be able to reason like this, though, I think is really important. If we just have a bunch of people who are innovative in their innovative thinking, I think that it could really spawn some great technologies. Look at StreamYard. You know, StreamYard by itself is like a great technology, and it's helped us come together. We could have said, hey, you just stick to Skype, you know, and Skype could have been like the only one that was doing this. We have Zoom that, as a result of what happened with the last couple of years, look at the boom that happened in that environment, you know, just shot all the way up. So, you know, I think that it's important for there to be multiple players, multiple people who are asking questions about, hey, how can we bridge the gap? You know, for me, and maybe Melissa could speak to this, having technologies like WhatsApp, you know, having WhatsApp, and it allowed me to be able to connect with family members that were overseas. Having Facebook allowed me to be able to participate in funerals that I would not have an opportunity to participate in. So for me, it's just amazing, the technology.
Technology is everything. Actually, I wanted to ask your opinion on this, Sincere. What do you think happened differently with Zoom, why it succeeded over and above something like Skype? Why did Zoom take off and not Skype? Because I think Skype was around much longer, right?
Yeah, I think that what happened was you have these oligarchs, so you have like these guys that run these organizations that have like old school thinking, right? Like I don't know how long you've been in the States, Melissa, but we can liken it to like a Motorola or like a BlackBerry, right? So when BlackBerry, I remember in the early 2000s, I remember Sprint had a contract with BlackBerry, and you could just get a BlackBerry phone. There were new ones coming out every month. This is before the iPhone, mind you, right? This is before the iPhone. So as soon as the iPhone was released, and the idea of you having a button-free phone where you just had touch pads that you could touch, BlackBerry said, we're not going to adopt the concept where we have only screen and we don't have no buttons. You know, we're going to stick to our core business, because BlackBerry was actually the business phone. When we talk about smartphones, BlackBerry was the business phone. Now in America, we had Nokia they were a player too. Nokia, then you had Motorola, who also was a player. I just think that a lot of these guys with like old school thinking, and they're not making pivots in order for them to really adjust and to the demand and adjust to like accommodate like the younger demographic. And they say, we don't need to do it. And that's what I believe happened, because we were using Skype and links at my job, and I didn't really see much of a difference. But, you know, Zoom, I just think that they made a conscious effort for them to be wide, and for them to be well known as being a provider of this video conferencing technology. What are your thoughts, though?
Yeah, I think you're probably right, because there's no reason why it shouldn't have taken off. It's got to be old school thinking, or not seizing the moment, because that was a moment that, you know, somebody had to come out a winner. Or there could have been multiple platforms, but they had to just do it well enough for people to gravitate towards it. And whatever Zoom did was well, whether it was the 40-minute free programs, free
for 40 minutes for free, right?
For free. I don't know what Skype was offering that's comparable, you know. So I got to give it to Zoom for really taking that off.
I did see that. I did see that. I'm gonna say this last thing, and I think you want to say something. I did see that there was like a campaign to really shun people for using Zoom because they were saying the security could be compromised. And at the same exact time, I don't know if you know, Microsoft had just acquired Skype, and so they were adopting that Microsoft Teams platform at the same exact time. So I don't know if they were really prepared for people to fully adopt Zoom. And then if you also even add like the whole 40 minutes for free, it's really like a trial where people become accustomed to using it.
Yes.
And then you're there, and then you're saying, oh man, like we're having such a great time. So maybe you go ahead and start your Zoom meeting, and so we could keep it going, you know?
Right. No, I totally agree with what you're saying. Teams, I used Teams, as a matter of fact, I used to teach Teams when I was working for corporate. I used to teach Teams to the organization. But I think Zoom is just for the everyday person. You know, whether you're in a corporate setting or not, Zoom is just for everybody. So.
But they took advantage of the pandemic because I was homeschooled before COVID was even a thing. And Zoom back then, compared to Zoom now, like during the pandemic, they just switched themselves up completely to be like, we want 3-year-old kids to be able to use it. And that's who's using it now. My little brother's like 8 years old, and he knows Zoom better than me. So it's like,
wow.
You know, so they really took advantage of that.
Uh-huh.
But I've got a question, Simsia. Is that, do you see that as people who, or companies that jump onto the money like that, is that good or is that predatory? If you know what I mean. Is that like,
I mean, I think a lot of the companies are just trying to go wide, you know, like look at Peloton, for instance, right? So I think that they want to have market share to be as wide as possible. And that's me saying wide. I'm saying that they want to have as many people who are account holders, and then they'll focus on getting money from those individual people's, you know, along the way, but they're not focused on just getting money immediately. Like they want to add value first and then come back on the back end and say, hey, we're gonna continue to show you the value of our product, and then you'll come on the back end and you will you grow to appreciate our product, and then hopefully we'll go ahead and get some money from you. But I can't say that it's predatory because it's been valuable use of our resources. You know, like I can say, for instance, that I use Zoom on an everyday basis and I know how to navigate and use it. But whenever I go onto other people's platforms, I have to just work to figure out where everything is at in order for me to know how to navigate. But I don't know. It just depends on what side of the coin that you're on. But I'd say that it's not specifically predatory because they're creating they're creating a path by which you can actually access it for various different levels of economic situations.
I would just add to that as well. They really just took advantage of an opportunity that presented itself. You know, it's like any of us right now. We're in this YouTube space, and we need to take advantage of the opportunity and try to find whichever lane or direction that is going to make us be more successful. Now we're all probably at the early stages. I'm not quite sure how much you're into it, Mr. Boy, right now. Of course, Bernard is very brand new as well as Simsia, and I'm still very, very brand new. Even though I've been doing it for a while, I'm still brand new. But we all have to find a lane that's going to be suitable for us and try to maximize on it. Just like how when Zoom came out, they did all the upgrades and all the features just to make it simple for the everyday person and for the 8-year-old kid, right? So taking advantage of a situation, it worked out well for them. You know what? Hopefully, this direction that I'm taking, as far as the StreamYard tech and the Instagram tech and so forth, hopefully this will be a winner for me.
I think it will, because I'm sitting up here looking. Like let's look at KS for instance, right? So he's supposed to be he's making a transition from, because everyone is vying for our attention, right? Mm-hmm. So as these companies are seeing that people are not sitting in front of the TV no more, they're spending most of the time on YouTube and on these platforms and having conversations. And so if they can take those conversations away from this platform and they can move it back to a said provider, cable provider, right? They want those watch hours. They want those eyes and the opportunity to market to those people because it brings them marketing dollars, because that's the real fight. People are just fighting for your attention. They're not. Yeah. That's what creates the lucrative opportunity for a lot of the creators. But in actuality, they're just fighting for our market share in our brains and on our minds. So I've just noticed that, and I was hearing something about 50 Cent, and they were speaking to the numbers that 50 Cent, how many people he would have watching him on a given night. And they're the similar numbers that KS has on a given night, So, I mean, if you really just see it, you can really see that this is the new Wild Wild West, right? Mm-hmm. And as we as creators make a conscious effort for us to figure out our path on this wild ride right here, we can carve a lane for ourselves to say, hey, I am the authority on this side of the business. And I live in North Carolina, Melissa. And I don't know if you're familiar with Mr. Beast. Are you familiar with Mr. Beast?
No.
So Mr. Beast is the biggest YouTuber, right? So okay. Mr. Beast makes crazy videos where he spends you should look him up. His name of his channel is Mr. Beast. Uh-huh. And the channel that he has, he does a lot of giveaways, but he does almost imagine a game show. And game show where he's giving away money. So that's essentially what he does. And what he's done with his formula is he has a way of keeping your attention right there on the screen where you're not interested in leaving because you're so excited about what's happening. But he lives here in North Carolina, right? Okay. He actually lives an hour and a half away from us. So some of the videos that he's done or that he does them here in Raleigh where we live, right? Okay. And so he is a major, major figure. He makes something like 90. They say he's going to be the first YouTube billionaire.
Wow.
Right. He makes $90 million, at least $90 million a year. With
subscribe for a cookie is his header.
I'm telling you, it's wild stuff. He's giving away $100,000.
I think it also should be said, with Mr. Beast or anybody like that. When I was 14 years old, I was watching Mr. Beast when he had 200,000 subscribers, and he was doing reaction videos, and then he adapted to what the algorithm was doing. So, there's two paths you can go, I think, with the online space is you can either go, it's very easy to be popular on YouTube. You just make the video about the right thing and then it's there, or you just go the just do whatever you want route. I want to do whatever you want route, so the growth is going to be super slow, you know what I mean? But
yeah, me too.
Followed the algorithm to the T. He knows the YouTube algorithm, as difficult as it is, he knows what it is, and all of his videos get over 50 million views. But he started in 2009. So for anybody watching, even not YouTube, anything in life, it's really just going to be a work in progress. Even with you, Simsia, I think everybody knows I'm your nephew. I've been watching you just build up not just the equipment, but the knowledge as well as to what you're doing, because you don't want to be in front of the world and not know what you're doing, because people are going to see that, unless that's your thing, the not knowing what you're doing guy. That's a different story.
Yeah, there's a little bit of building as you fly it. I think that if I leave room, and maybe Melissa Jane can speak to this, one thing that I don't want to sell myself as is like an expert of many things, and I just want to leave room for someone else to maybe have more information than me. That way, I'm not branding myself as the all-knowing or as an actual super expert in what I'm doing. So it's just something that's helped me survive thus far, because I have not branded myself as knowing one group of things. And that's been part of the challenge, is that I've had to be a dynamic individual to know about how to fix stuff, to learn how to build stuff, to learn how to improve my skills in the tech space, or to improve my skills as a business owner, So there's just many different pivots that I've had to do myself. And much of my channel is about the various different discoveries that I've made that have added value to my life. So, Mr. Bernard, what can you say about what you've observed in the last year or so as these technologies have improved?
First of all, much respect to y'all. I figured the least I could do was cam up, and no, Melissa, I could not open up my laptop in time enough, so I'm just winging it with my 13 Pro Max iPhone. So, but
it looks amazing, by the way.
It does.
Well, this is what I tell everybody. For me, shooting photography and video for years, if you pay that much for a phone, like I was telling Melissa, I mean, what should you expect your camera stuff to look like? You paid $1,000 for a phone that has like 3 lenses on it. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, in the last year, like being where I work at, and I work for a communication company, so we never went home. I'm the guy that lays a cable and runs a cable on the poles and make sure everybody could be at home, you know. So with technology, going back to Mr. Boy, to answer your question, man, I can kind of see where you coming from, and I think Melissa will agree with me. Skype didn't take the chess move that they should have taken when COVID hit. Zoom was like, oh, I'm going to checkmate you because you're not going to capitalize on this. You know, to give you an analogy, does that make sense to you, Mr. Boy? It was like, oh, so you're not, oh, don't worry about it. We got it. You know, so, and that's how all these other companies came about. You know, you had, me and Melissa was talking about, who was it, Melissa, back in the day, MySpace. And then after MySpace, you just saw the gradual, because you know, and then like I was telling her, the reason why I didn't like OBS, I have OBS loaded up right here on my screen. But like I kept telling her, they only kept saying, yeah, you bring everybody in through Skype. Well, you know, Mr. Boy, that to me, and I know it sounds old to you, like, oh yeah, you got to bring everybody through Skype. I really sound like the old man, for real. And I was like, yeah, man, I need you to go through Skype. Come on up here. Now, from what I'm understanding, and y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, I think El Guapo, he's kind of like a master from what lead attorney is saying. He was saying the other day how he had fireworks on. He was saying that he uses OBS, or because for the longest, Melissa, it seemed like he thought you use OBS too. But you know, but I guess El Guapo does. But to answer your question, Mr. Boy, I think technology is like family. It's good when it works. That's the best way I can put it.
And we saw that the other day. We saw that the other day with El Guapo. So El Guapo was trying to figure out his technology and OBS, because I have OBS loaded too, man. And sometimes it runs my computer really hard, and that's part of the reason why I don't really like using it. But I've noticed KS, he uses it too. Like as far as like whenever you see like the overlay with like the people who've contributed and it's on there, or maybe like response whenever someone makes a contribution, you see stuff going into a cup. That's OBS as well. So a lot of times when you see stuff on the screen, OBS is running that. But yeah, I mean, it works when it works, and it doesn't when it doesn't. So for you to put like a lot of your faith in it, it's a little bit dangerous. And I agree with Melissa that this platform, Streamlabs, it's something that you can really count on. You know, compared to OBS, like sometimes it takes a while for it to load up, and you might do your transitions and it's not doing what you're supposed to do. It ends up really taking up a lot of resources. And so I think it requires a lot of computing power to actually use, but whenever it does work, it looks smooth.
I think that El Guapo is just getting started with his. So it's probably one or two or three times that he started using it. So he's gonna work through all of those teething problems, and he'll get it right, because Kevin Samuels has it pretty organized for the most part. I think there's still some thing that he could do as far as transitioning. You know, sometimes now that he started using StreamYard, because I think he was using Zoom before. Kevin Samuels.
You use the StreamYard now.
He's now using
He
StreamYard.
started using it when he went to Miami because
Yeah.
it kept messing up or whatever.
Yeah.
He said, "All right, y'all." He did it on a live. He said, "Okay, y'all, I'm learning."
You can see
StreamYard
it
as
right
we
in the
speak."
back. You can see it when he's pulling stuff up. You can see that he's looking in the back office, right, just like how you were doing.
And even had the duck up top where he didn't care if you saw what he was doing. Like he was like, "No, I need to make this work." But I wanted to jump in right quick. I found out about Stream Deck because if y'all listen, I watched. I was like lead attorney said on the Patreon today, and Mr. Boyd, this will help you out. Trust me, this is how I'm learning. I found out about Stream Deck because Kevin Samuels saying, I went to T.I.'s thing. He said, I'm doing the work of 10 people. So one day, I don't know what happened, but on his live, I saw Stream Deck come across the whole screen. And I was like, well, what is Stream Deck? I had never heard of. So that's when I wrote it down. I was like, oh, he's using Stream Deck. He didn't care. He never took it down. He's just like, hey, y'all, let me fix this. And Stream Deck is up there the whole time. And you can see what each button was for. And this was on a live. And I was like, oh, getting it. That was like schooling for me. So just off of his mistakes. And one thing I'm going to say again about Kevin Samuels, I was telling you guys this morning, Mr. Boyd wasn't here, man. We was on the phone till like 4 o'clock in the morning. But anyway, if you go back to Kevin Samuels, I'm telling you, he had on the ugliest Urkel sweaters. And he'll tell you, he's like, man, I don't take it down, man. He said, y'all need to see where I came from. The audio was bad. You can hear the echo. And he just got these big glasses on. And he's like, look, guys, these colognes. And he's just talking about cologne. But he said, I did it to show y'all where I come from, to show that you can do it too. Now, number 2, what I didn't mention to you guys this morning, he got the 500 video thing from Jordan Peterson. Because Jordan Peterson said, I did over 500 videos when he started taking his lectures as a psychologist at his school. And that's when Kevin Samuels started saying it last year, 2021. Now, he said, yes, I got over 500 hours. But he got that from Jordan Peterson because I listened to it. And as soon as he mentioned Jordan Peterson's name, I started following him. And he's about to do a world tour. And me, Attentional Millionaire, and Uncle Stu, we're going to go see him live here. And he's a beast. The way he thinks is just crazy. But anyway, I listen to the things that everybody don't listen to. Everybody listens to, okay, man, you're going to make me say it. You're a 6. Okay, yeah, that's funny. But when he's dropping nuggets, Bernard's like this. Sorry, Kevin, I will catch this live later. I'm about to go look something because I'm listening to where he's getting his stuff from.
Right.
And then when you do that, I'm telling you guys, I'm giving y'all a nugget here for the world to hear. You would get more content from the people he follows. Yeah. Because I can listen to one of his lives and get like 4 or 5 shows out of it just off of his monologue. But then you go to Jordan Peterson. It's a whole nother world. It's a whole nother world. And people like Mr. Boy, I think what it boils down to, you have to be like the guy you're talking about that's going to be the first billionaire. You got to be the first to be doing certain things. That's pretty much the same thing. If I'm not wrong, right, Melissa, that lead attorney just said in the Patreon, you have to hit that niche to where either it's very unique and it works, but if it's very unique and so unique, it won't work. So it's like you have to hit it just right. But what you did say was a key point is what Kevin Samuels said to lead attorney this past week. He said, y'all need to learn the YouTube system.
Yeah.
He said, I studied YouTube for years before I got on it. And you just said it about the guy that's in Carolina with you. He knows the analytics. He knows how to just drive the car and hit it. And like, I think if all of us learn that, there's no way you can't get 1 million subscribers. This is what I told Melissa. And this is what I'm going to tell y'all. You know why? If there's 7 billion people on Earth, really? It's 7 billion. It's enough to share for everybody. It's 7 billion people on this Earth. Somebody's going to listen to you. Everybody has a story. And it's going to connect with somebody.
And we're all just really getting started too, because think about like as bad as we think that we may be, right? Imagine the people who don't even have the guts to really do this, right?
That's right.
So they're gonna come after they really build up the will and the courage to actually do it as well. So I think that we're on the front end. I've been lucky. I've been fortunate enough to really do things that a lot of my peers and people in my circle are not doing. And so I've had an opportunity to really see people who were like the late adopters and people who were doing stuff very much after we were doing what I saw that was really possible out here. You know, in reference to just like a guy like you mentioned Jordan Peterson in the video. I don't know if you looked at that. So one thing that I've been paying attention to, I've been like kind of studying the people, like the association with people and videos. Like I watched the Roommates podcast, had Jordan Peterson in the title, and I saw that video shoot up. I'd never seen them get as many views as they did. But because they were following Jordan Peterson, people around the world, the Roommates podcast was able to capitalize on that traction, you know? So, you know, that, and then in reference to the technologies, I actually have a Stream Deck. So I actually have a Stream Deck. I purchased it. I purchased it a few months ago. You know, that's what Mr. Boy would tell you. Like I've been investing in technology, like behind the scenes. I've been seeing like I'm not really doing anything, but I've been investing in the technology.
Been a YouTuber without the YouTube videos.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's the main thing. So what I've challenged myself to do is in 2022 is to do, like you mentioned earlier today, Melissa, on the Leads platform, is to go live or to produce something every single day in order for us to just make deposits. And then as a result, the algorithm is going to push you up because they're going to say, hey, this person's doing a whole bunch of touches. They're making sure that they're not staying, they're not becoming irrelevant. They're becoming and maintaining their relevancy out here. So I appreciate it.
Simsia, could you just hold up the Stream Deck again? Because your camera went off for a second and you did that.
Well, it pressed the button. Hold on. Let me see. So I have some. Let me see. Hold on. Give me a moment.
If it's possible.
I have it set up for.
Yeah, El Gato. That's who it's made by. Yeah, that Stream Deck is a beast.
Okay.
So
that's the 32 key. Yeah.
So I'm going to show you what I have it set up for, Melissa. Because remember I just asked you about it. I
was watching a video on it, and it's crazy because Melissa and Cynthia, Mr. Boyd, you might know this too. Some people just use it for everything because you can hit a button, it'll go to StreamYard. You hit another button, it'll do your commercial. You hit another button, it's sweet. That thing is sweet. Now Kevin only has like Kevin Samuels. He does not have the big one. I think he only has like the 8 key.
No, he
doesn't even have the. He has the big one because
he has the big one.
Yeah, because when I look at his thing, if you look at his YouTube, his is small. His is not as big as yours.
It just looks small. I've seen his. It has
Okay.
This one is 32 buttons, so it's eight buttons.
I probably won't need 32 buttons.
Well, I mean, the thing about it is, let me tell you how I found mine. I looked on Facebook Marketplace and I was able to get it. I paid $175 for it. Paid $175 for it.
That's a steal.
But it sells for like $250. But it's literally like it's a macro pad. And Melissa, I wanted to show you what I have it set up for because StreamYard actually has the hotkeys.
Oh yeah, yep.
So they have the hotkeys, and I have mine set up. So when you see me, that's me.
Muted. Okay. All right, you've muted yourself completely.
I said I have it set up to where it's working with my with my StreamYard. So I can end the broadcast, I can change my layout and everything, all from here. But I mean, it's something that I got it because I want to be able to do sounds. So so you can do like a soundboard so you can add like a soundboard to it. Not
And
a
they got a
soundboard.
mobile one too for your phone. I just saw yesterday.
Yeah,
Elgato.
they have it where
Yeah.
you can use it on your phone as well. But
Yeah.
there's something about the buttons that people really like. For me, it works out though. But I mean, it's a tool that can be useful. I actually use it for the StreamYard, but I also have it set up for me to use in Final Cut. So I spent like 2 or 3 days taking all the shortcuts, all the hotkeys in Final Cut, and I put them in there so that I can do my cutting. So it's time for me to learn how to really
And that's what Kevin also uses for his lights when they be flashing. That's Elgato too. That's the same company.
And to change cameras as well, right?
I don't know about the probably so, but
the cameras as well. So it literally does everything. So you can change it. You can change your lights. So I have the lights right here. So I have it hooked up on my phone, but I can also do it on my. So like you see how I turn off the light.
Oh yeah.
So I can use the same thing. I could program the Stream Deck to also control the lights from here. So
now with your lights that you have, to ask you a question, is that the light from them, or is that a regular light?
No.
I know they have their own lights.
No. This is a LIFX, LIFX.
Yeah, okay.
So that's the light that you see MTR using. So like if you ever look in MTR, like you can see like in the background, he has like a purple light and he has like a blue light. So like way in the back, it's not going to show. Let me see if I can show this one right here. So like this light, let me see. So see that light right there?
Yes.
So it's like it's a light that allows you to you can manipulate the colors. You can make the colors whatever you want, and so.
And you said that's different. That's a different company.
Yeah, LIFX, LIFX.
LIFX.
So that's what. Yeah. That's what I use. It's helpful. Let me show you. So like last night,
you could get any type of smart bulb, and it's going to connect to your phone, and you can manipulate the colors. For $4 a piece on Amazon, you could control it from your phone, different colors, anything like that. It's just any generic smart bulb. But LIFX is the truth. Like they're pretty bright. So even if you in a bright environment, the lights are still going to show. Like during the day, sometimes sim will stream and the lights are still powerful enough to outdo the sun sometimes. So any smart bulb you can use. But I'm going to jump in here and play a bad guy quickly because I'm not particularly a YouTuber. I just use, I never, try to frame myself as a YouTuber just because I know how hard YouTubers work to just fight those algorithms. So, I just use YouTube as a tool to push my work as a cinematographer, as a filmmaker, and a lot of the time, I do feel some sort of I don't want to say resentment, but a kind of a distaste towards some YouTubers, like when they use their platform. I think a lot of the time on YouTube, because I said predatory before, but a lot of the content on YouTube is very predatory. Like, even the thumbnails, I fall for clickbait all the time. And I'm like, now I'm helping Sim make clickbait too. It's like, you know what I mean?
Contradicting. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So what do you think of that and where that goes? Because for me, I would say I was part of the last generation that grew up before this new technological revolution. I think it started around 2012, really boomed after 2015 of just everything's technology, everything's social, everything's this. So I remember being a kid growing up in a lot of analog things, and then my teenage years was just completely digital. And because of that, a lot of older people, they're able to manage and say, I have time for this, I have time for the real world, and a lot of them can't. But for me, having pretty much majority grown up in this crazy technological space, I have to now limit myself to the technology because I'm finding myself spending more time in the digital world than I am in the real world. And the crazy thing is now you have people like Lead and Kevin Samuels whose careers are the digital world. So they rely on people like me watching their stuff. You know what I mean? When I say the career in and of itself is kind of, it's predatory because your check relies on me watching, spending 4 hours on a stream in a day, sending you a $20 super chat, sending you a $40. So you know what I mean? Where's the balance? Because you know this whole stream was about Elon Musk. Elon Musk says when it comes to technology, all input is error. You know, so if you have to, the more time you have to press a button on your phone, the more of an issue it is because you're too much in the technology. So for me, if I can't control technology with my voice, I try to stay away from it because then it's me inside, you know, it's me going into too much into the device. And I'm just concerned now because while I love this whole community of people on YouTube making serious money for themselves, it also scares me that a lot of the time people have invested more of their lives into technology than they have into the real world, which I think is so important, you know.
Wow, that's deep, man.
I don't, because what do you guys think? Because you guys, I'm hoping you guys are going to be, you know, successful Black people on YouTube, but I would hope you guys have this kind of thing in mind where, you know, you're putting a lot of people away from the real world, you know?
It's true. You make a really, really good point. I want to hear what Bernard says to this one.
Being that I did 2 TV shows back in the day, I just did guest appearances, acting, and then I went to film and video school for a split second. I started missing my kids, so I dropped out. I was like, I'm picking my kids over this. But meeting the stars I've met and through the years, taking the picture, it's at my mom's house. I'm gonna probably put this up on some of my stuff on my YouTube eventually. But the original guy that Cuban Gooding Jr. played with the one leg, I have a picture with him and he signed the picture, right? I got a picture with Tim Reed. I got a picture with Cat Williams. I got a picture with Michael Beach. I used to do a lot of stars when they would come to this area. And so what I've learned through the years, balance. Because at the end of the day, after these lights cut off, Mr. Bill is still at your mailbox. Cancer doesn't care who you are. Your health doesn't care what you're doing, right? So there's always like still the 80% of life outside of this, what is really 20%. But like you said, a lot of people make it 80% because this is the first time in history where a lot of people rely on this digital world for actually being a family for them, which is deep, but it's true. Because a lot of people, they just don't have the connection that they will want with physical people, and they feel more safe that you can't touch me, you can't get to me, but I'm here and I need you and you need me. And so what happens is my son, he was a very, very astute rhymer. He rapped for a good 2-3 years. He's in the Navy, he's about to get out. And I said, well, son, I got something to tell you. He's like, what's that? All those cars in the video, they like rented, exception of maybe if it's Rick Ross. I can name them off like Jay-Z. I said, they might be their cars. I said, but everybody else, it's not like that. So I was teaching him about what you're asking, because he's 25 now, but I was teaching him back then what you were asking about. You have to separate that. In fact, what's the guy, who is it? Which one is on Saturday Night Live? Is that Keenan or is that Kale? Which one is it? Keenan. Keenan. Right. He was doing an interview. Funny you said that. He was doing an interview. He said, when I go home, my family don't care that I'm on Saturday Night Live. They just treat me like I go to work every day. And he said that's what keeps them grounded, because they don't treat them no different. And a lot of people in the celebrity world don't have that. Look at Prince. Sad he didn't have a will, but he didn't rock with none of his brothers and sisters. He only rocked with the one sister. So once again, instead of the digital world, you had this man who's made thousands of songs that we're still yet to hear because that became his digital world of family. Now with the music and this going on, this digital world has become a family for a lot of people. And I just say at the end of the day, being a life coach, we can only suggest or ask questions to help you answer yourself. Is what would Mr. Boyd do to keep him grounded? Would it be his uncle? You know, will it be the bills you have, or will it be a car accident? We don't want it to be the car accident, but life. I believe life, Mother Nature, all of them, they're like brother and sister. You can't escape neither one. And the thing about that is you need to find for yourself, was what I would suggest. I can't tell you what to do, is what's going to keep you grounded. And that actually, the haters can keep you grounded. Okay? Haters will keep you grounded very well. But it's nothing like family, man. I mean, I have family. They just as opposite of me, but they keep me grounded. My daughter keeps me grounded. She's the baby girl. She is feisty, and she'd be like, "Daddy, you can't do that." Like she keeps me grounded. My wife keeps me grounded. So I have people in my life that keep me grounded and say and let you know in a roundabout way that, hey, sorry about my dog Chance barking. Anyway, in a roundabout way, when those lights go off, we here with you. You know what I'm saying? And that's what, and I've seen a lot of people not even be on YouTube. They making a lot of money and they get in that one accident and they can't walk no more. You get grounded real quick. So life alone should keep you grounded. And whatever you find at your young age or at your age to do that, even in the film world, because I have a friend, and I don't know if what I can do for you, but my best friend, he works for Canon. So he talks to a lot of directors and Hollywood. He be calling me like, "Do you know who I just talked to?" No, I don't know who you just talked to. Right? But he talks about how they're just normal people like you. They ask questions just like you. So to stay grounded, man, I think, and I try to answer this for people that has family and don't have family, because I know people are going to be watching this. So you as a person have to find what you can find in a safe space to keep you grounded. And that's why I always come up on anybody's platform and say, I'm just humble, because you don't have to let me do nothing. You don't have to let me come on your platform. And I always give shout out and start giving shout out to your uncle, but I just met him, but much respect to him, much respect to Melissa. I respect them just like I would anybody as a CEO in a big company. And same with you, even for you just being up here with us. So that's how I roll. That's how I stay grounded, is not to forget where I came from and that I'm no better than you. That's my best answer.
My thought on this, and that's a really, really interesting question, Mr. Boy. But before I really sort of got myself engrossed into YouTube, I wasn't on YouTube as much. Now, I'm wondering, there's probably millions of people that are not in this world. It's because we're in this world why we think that there's so many people that are in here. But maybe there's just as equally amount of people that are not, and they're outside living their lives. You're a filmmaker, you're a photographer, so you're out and about a lot of the times. You might spend a lot of time online, but you are out and you're doing your thing, right? Let me ask you a question, Mr. Boy. How much of your time is spent in front of your computer indoors, as opposed to how much of your time is spent outside filming? Doing all of that kind of stuff?
I don't think I could give exact figures, but when I'm on a computer and if I'm not watching a film or saying, okay, I'm going to binge watch a series, for example, if I'm not doing that and I'm just on my computer just doing nothing, my body will start aching. I'll be like, no, I have to pick up my camera and do something. You know what I mean? Right. And my main concern is just really is a lot of the peers in my age group. You know what I mean? It's really, I've seen some people addicted to even with KS, just him going in. You know what I mean? And I'm like, it's entertaining, But to constantly fill up your mind with that 8 hours a day, I feel like YouTubers, you guys should have a sort of responsibility to tell people to go outside. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right.
Or do something other than watch me. If a YouTuber can say that, oh man,
I'm gonna make a note to do that.
You know what I mean? To say, guys, after this, stop watching me. Look at the clouds. You know what I mean? I can't remember the last time I looked at the clouds with someone. And I was 3 years old. We used to try to find pictures. I haven't seen a picture in the cloud in years. Maybe it's climate change, but you know what I mean? It's really, it's kind of scaring me. It's kind of scaring me, especially because I'm so grateful I was part of that last generation to grow up without social media. But my 8-year-old brother has TikTok. I'm already feeling old, and I'm only 19.
Right.
He knows more than me about social media than I do. So I'm like, everything's moving way too fast.
Right.
Yeah. Right. But I even as much as I do spend a lot of time in front of the computer, I have to make it a point to go out at least, try to go out at least once a day for exercise. Just like you say, your body seizes up, and but telling people to do so as well. And showing a life outside of the computer. So sometimes I might be out with my husband. We're at the beach or we're at a live entertainment show, and I'm streaming that. So even though it is online and it is scary because obviously somebody's going to be watching it. They don't necessarily have to be home to be watching it, but somebody is watching it and consuming the content. But a lot of people are just living their life and just going live while living their life, like Lasha's journey. She's out with her kid. She's cooking. She's in the garden. People can do a lot of stuff and still be online. Now, it's going to be entertaining for those who are at home or are willing to watch. But, maybe we do have to remind people, listen, don't just stay at home. Don't just be in front of your computer. Go out, literally get out the house and watch it. You can, and with technology, we can be outside and watching stuff as well. Anyway.
Yeah,
you make a very good point.
That's a good point. Good point, because he was talking about Elon Musk, and I saw the picture, and I was like, man, they were just talking about him and Mark Zuckerberg because they're talking about this virtual reality thing they're coming out with. Being that we're talking about that, so it's putting you deeper into what? The Matrix,
the metaverse. Now that's the scary thing. That's even more scary.
But what's crazy is that people are going to buy it. It goes back to what Mr. Boy is talking about. It's like
you're gonna have to.
That's a whole other generation of kids. Yeah, that's going to be even newer for your little brother and them. Like that's going to be a Christmas gift. Like no, my friend has it, and that's the only way I can see him. What? What happened to the phone? No, I can see him and talk. So I mean, they're already pushing it, and they're
hey Bernard,
dancing with
but
yes.
Sorry to cut you. Just hold up your mic off of your jacket.
Right here.
Yeah, it was making a noise as it's rubbing against it.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah. So yeah, that scared me. In fact, my daughter sent me that on TikTok. She sends me a lot of conspiracy theory stuff, and she was like, she made a face with that one. I was like, and I looked at it, I was like, seriously? I was like, y'all really doing this technology?
How old is your daughter?
She's 23.
Oh, okay. So she's closer to Mr. Boy's age.
Yeah. My son's 25 and my daughter's 23. They're 2 years apart. And so she's the one who keeps me up on that, because going back to what Mr. Boy said, I don't look at the news. First of all, it's depressing. So I don't look at the news. I'm tired of hearing about somebody getting whatever. So she keeps him up on the stuff, that's worth learning. And she sent me that about that, and I showed that to some of my coworkers, and they were like, and they're older. They're like in their 50s, and dude, they are flipping. They was like, what? Are you kidding me? I was like, yeah. Whether you like it or not, I think, this is coming. I mean, people... I saw it 20 years ago, almost 20 years ago, right in your area. And actually, I was off of 15501, Simsia, when I first saw the first self-checkout. It's been out for a minute. It's just starting to hit now.
Were you at the Walmart?
No, I was at like
the Target?
I was at a grocery store.
Oh, okay.
And it messed me up. It was only like one. Yeah, and I was like, I'm looking at it like it had a plague or something. I'm like, what is that? And that was like in 02, 03. And people don't realize how you're in the triangle. So you know what I'm saying? They have a lot of experiment things there you probably won't see till later, but now Dollar Tree has them. I mean, everybody has them. I go to those a lot quicker than I do to a human man. I just be like, joop, 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 push play, I'm gone. So yeah, I think that's the boy at his age. He's on something deep because he thinks like I do. You're losing the interaction. And that's why I, Robot is one of my favorite movies with Will Smith. But that and his other movie, Enemy of the State, those two movies where he's dealing with technology, those are like my two top movies because it was like they were showing you then. And the Enemy of the State, people keep forgetting, was made in 1998. And they had the satellite zooming in on the guy end. Come on, people. I mean, Melissa, that was 98.
Have you seen that movie, Melissa? She has. Okay. She's checking the call. But so have you seen the movie Ready Player One, Bernard?
Yes. Yes, it's crazy.
That's where we're going.
God.
That's where we're going.
Yeah.
That's where we're going. We're going to Ready Player One. That's the simulation we're getting ready to go into right now. Because I mean, I said this before. I said that I'm discovering that movies are the commercial for the life that we're going to be living in the future.
Yep.
They are our introduction into the reality that we will be living.
Doesn't even have to advertise. Just put Ready Player One on all the platforms and that's it. People are going to be into it.
But look at the algorithms. Look at the game. Look at the game YouTube joints. Everybody's game YouTube show is like blowing up.
Yeah.
It's not about talking about the gossip. It's like everybody has a game channel now. It's crazy.
And the thing is, I don't think it's all bad, man. I've witnessed the power of technology. Like this panel right here, I think this kind of thing is beautiful to me. And, the community that Sims here has just showed me, because he introduced me to this whole thing. I think it's so cool that people from across the world can come together and have discussions like this. It's just when it stops being a tool and it becomes an addiction, you really have to check yourself out, pull yourself out of the matrix and, just get back to grass and like water, lakes.
That's what
that's what my wife doesn't want because we're about to move and she would go to her grandmother's house in upstate New York that was near a farm. And that's exactly what I want. She was like, what? I was like, yep, I want to go on the back porch. I want to see Bambi. I'm going to have my cigar and my coffee and just be smoking, taking puffs, drinking. I said, I don't want to hear nothing. Because I grew up around sirens all my life, hearing just hearing sirens every day because you're in the city, all my life. And it's like, I just want peace and quiet. I said, I don't want to. I said, I want to be able to hear an ant cough. And she's like, oh, no. She's like, no, I grew up like that. No. And I was like, well, we're going to have to come to an equilibrium because I got to have
I think I'm addicted. I think I wouldn't. I don't even want to go on vacation because I don't want to be away from my computer. Now, I've used my computer. No, I'm serious. With a weak signal. Oh no. I gotta have my computer with a strong signal. So I've been using computers ever since. I'm gonna say about 35 years. I'm gonna say 35 years.
Wow.
And to be without a computer or a tablet or a phone, that's the way it is, man. I just have to realize that. Yeah, I'm addicted.
So imagine someone who's 10 years old and has never seen a life without these high speed, because these are supercomputers.
Never.
I know. That's why when you said that, it really hit hard. It's like, wow, it really made me think that the younger generation who know nothing else. Wow, I don't know. I don't know what's the solution.
My grandson and godson, you have to give them the iPad to put them to sleep. These are facts.
It's true.
Me and my wife are in the bed, and I have to put on Coco Melon. I have to cut on Netflix, cut on Coco Melon, give them the iPad, and me and my wife are like knocked out, and they're just watching it and fall asleep with on their chest. So, Mr. Boy, and you, Melissa, and Simpson, y'all are right because I'm living it. Seriously, they don't have a clue what it is not to have the iPad or some type of something on TV on. They just don't. It's crazy.
Well, yeah, that would just be
don't let the battery die. Please don't let the battery die. I'm calling one
battery
of y'all.
Battery packs.
I'm calling Mr. Boy. I'm like, hey man, how do you handle your 8-year-old brother when the battery down?
Hey Bernard, run! Run!
It's tough. I mean, we're gonna have a battle with the dependency to battery. I mean, to batteries and power now is just tough. I mean, to even imagine that children not being able to see beyond the 1 gig of internet. Like I remember dial-up internet. I remember having to wait for the signal to connect. Multiple attempts. I mean, I remember you could get the Netscape discs, and you could get those, and then you could count on 30 days of service. I mean, it's just wild that to now, if it doesn't load up immediately, they're saying, "Oh man, this is taking too long,"
Right.
Yes.
You'd have to wait. You'd have to wait for something to come online, before you could actually like see the page. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I have a significant amount of patience.
Well, it's funny because I'm gonna do a show on that because everybody forget what my mom and y'all mothers and grandmothers saw. They saw everything change. My mom is born in the late 40s, so she's rotary phone where everybody can hear you. Regular phone, dial phone. My dad gets the first cell phone in the family in 1989 with the big battery pack. We really thought we were really living then. Like, oh my God, he has a cell phone. And the thing is like this big. And it weighs like 15 pounds for the battery. And so for the baby boomers to see they were the first ones to see a movie in color with Wizard of Oz. The stuff they witnessed. Can you imagine? And so my mom looks at the phone now, and I was like, well, Mom, you could do this. And she's like 74. She's like, no, I didn't. I said, well, Mom, don't push this button. Just be like, do this, and do. And it's like, I feel kind of bad for them because like you said, I don't know, Melissa might agree. I think I want to say the early 80s, it just took off and we didn't even have time to put on the seatbelt. It took off. Like technology, just like we're not looking back, and it's like it was crazy. How and like Mr. Boyd brought this whole thing up. This is a whole topic that each one of us can have a show on. We'll probably get a lot of hits, but it's like the way it took off. Nobody was ready for it. That's what I'm sure of. Nobody was ready for it because now they're talking about using. I was listening to somebody else. For the accuracy of surgeries. They're trying to go laser with robotics because the humans are always tired from doing multiple surgeries a day. So it's crazy.
I mean, the capital was taken over through Facebook. That should be proof in and of itself that people need a break from this crazy.
Yes.
That happened. Like that's the U.S. capital, Everybody outside of the world looks at the U.S. as the staple for how to defend a country, and bunch of defend the spot just itself. Walked in. Man, that was, off of a Facebook group. That's insane.
And see, that's when technology doesn't work to me. It worked for the bad.
Hey, I have a thought for y'all too. Think about this, right? So Mr. Boys has recently come to America, right? And so I don't know when you came to America, Melissa, but I don't know if y'all remember, this is after the whole 3 minutes after 7, 3 minutes after 7 transcendence, right? But this is when they were pushing the idea of people having smartphones. I don't know if y'all remember, was it BlackBerry? I want to say that BlackBerry did adopt, I can't remember what was the name of the company, but it was like almost like buy one phone, get the second phone free. And they were pushing people getting on these plans, right? Yeah. So the other day, I'm outside, right? I'm outside grabbing something out of my car. And so one neighbor is on one side of the street talking to the other neighbor. These are children, right? Talking to the other neighbor across the street, right? And they're talking to each other about the VR games, virtual reality games that they just got for Christmas, right? And what I'm saying to myself is what's going to happen is they're going to make the Oculus device, the VR headsets, they're going to make them so cheap that everyone can get them, right? So they're going to make it to where it's easily attainable as opposed to the $500 a pop. It's going to be $199 or something more practical. Because like I was saying, I was hearing them talk to each other about the games that they had. Hey, do you have this game? Do you have that game? And I was saying to myself, these guys are 11 and 12 and they're adopting the technology. Here we are being resistant to it, right? So they're adopting the technology. So all it's going to take is for it to be affordable, to be an affordable alternative, access to the VR world, and then everyone's going to get one. I mean, I'm surprised. I don't watch TV, so I don't know how cheap they are right now. But I'm tempted to say that there will be a movement where they're doing like buy one, get one freeze, or buy one, get the second one half off, or what have you, in order for people to start getting access to these VR technologies.
And they're going to. Sorry, quick one. No, and they're going to be smaller and more slimline eventually as well. Go ahead, Mr. Boyd.
I think it goes back to what Mr. Bernard and Ms. Jane was saying. Mrs. Jane was saying is that you're not going to escape it. You know what I mean? You're not going to be like, oh yeah, I ain't putting on them goggles, man. You're not gonna, because then you're gonna be the old head. But it's really about that.
Exactly.
Because,
and the perfect movie of what your first question was, I just thought about it. Surrogates. Perfect.
Haven't seen that one. Who's that with?
That's the one with Bruce Willis and everybody. The whole world was in a virtual reality and. Nobody came outside to the end of the movie. Put it that way. Y'all need to watch that movie.
I've seen it. Yeah,
that's a great. Everybody was living in a whole virtual world through the whole movie. Like I would go in the room and my wife is laying down with her glasses on. I'm like, well, hey, I'm about to go to work, and she might respond because she's in her own little world. She's not even. She's just, and they only took their goggles off pretty much just to go eat. And they look nothing like they did in the virtual world. I mean, some of these people are looking sloppy, looking like they haven't. Some people would not take showers for days.
Wow.
They just in the virtual. I'm serious. They would just. If y'all watch that movie, y'all gonna.
I'm gonna watch it. But let me ask a question. Who has been to the metaverse so far?
Talking about who's been exploring it? What are you saying?
Yeah. Who's been exploring it?
I haven't been exploring it.
What about you?
I thought it was a concept.
No,
I've been in it, not with the goggles, just on the computer. You can go to.
I thought it was like a 10-year vision for Facebook. This is up now.
The metaverse is up right now.
Oh man.
Yes.
So what you're saying with the goggles and everything, and welcome, She Stole My Thunder. You know, I can see people. A friend of mine has bought the goggles, and it's a matter of time. But just as we adopted the internet, we're going to adopt and we're going to get used to using the metaverse. And there's more than one metaverse. There's going to be there's multiple metaverses. So yes, we're going to be in there because I met my friend in there. I said me and Marcia were in there chilling out, walking around, and like you said, like in that movie, said that we look nothing like our persona. You can look like whoever you want to look like.
Anybody you want. Yeah. And who did that first? I'm going to ask everybody on the panel. Who did that first? Since we're talking about metaverse. Who did it first?
I don't know who did it first.
In the metaverse first, or who did the VR world first?
Who did metaverse first? They made it a game, though. But who did it first?
You tell us.
I'm not sure.
Matrix.
Yes.
is still going from the third movie. It's still going from 2002 or 3. The game is still going.
Wow. You're right.
The game is still going from the last Matrix, not the last one, but the last one back in 03. They started a game back then, and it's still going to this day.
Yeah,
from a character you made.
That's the advertisement right there, though. You know,
that's crazy.
It's introduced to you. So welcome. Yeah. She stole my thunder. We're having movie discussion.
Stole my thunder.
This is her lane.
Comment ça va?
Bonjour. Hello. I'm just here for two things. A, congratulations, Simsi. I think this is your very first live, right?
Yes, it is.
Yes, so congrats on that. I know the first one is always the hardest one to do, so I'm glad to see that you're out there doing that. And the second thing is, I think Bernard, in order for him to have these questions, has to have his dog in his lap, and the dog has to tell us and ask us, "Come on, Bernard, come on."
I saw him in the corner. He's looking pretty cute. He's looking pretty cute, actually.
Puppy.
Mr. Boy.
He's like, what the hell is this dog?
I think Mr. Boy is still tripping on the metaverse.
I know.
I don't care about no dog. I didn't know the metaverse was up.
It's still tripping.
Never
told me the metaverse was up. I need
it.
He's like messed up.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
I've been in there.
But back to these two young ladies. Let me tell you, Mr. Boy, that dog gets more kisses than I do from my wife. I'm just.
I bet it's true.
Going around there.
Yeah.
So she stole my thunder. Have you been on the metaverse yet?
Not yet. But I'm kind of with Melissa, where it's like at one point we're gonna have no choice but to be part of it, whether you like it or not. And I think it even goes a slightly deeper than that, where like the internet, like you guys know, the military had it way back before we ever did.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And that's why I'm thinking with the metaverse, they also had it way back before.
Way back then. Yep.
You know, and if it wasn't the military, it was higher level government agents or government agencies or somebody somewhere. Because even if you're telling yourself that, look, you know, technology develops, it's way too developed for what it is now. You know what I mean? It's like the technology doesn't match up what it should be capable of. It's like far ahead. So I'm like, you know what? These, you know, there's certain individuals that were sitting on this technology at somewhere and have just decided, okay, you know what? Now, because we had, and I'm sure you guys mentioned Ready Player One, we've had The Matrix, we've had all these movies where they've normalized people going into a virtual world.
Yeah.
They can now, we can make money. People seem to like it. The general public seems to be agreeable to the idea of it. So now we can go out there and make money off of what we had. Because the internet before was just, hey, the military needs a quick way to communicate from the other side of the... So it had only practical purposes. But once they saw that, hey, there was a potential to make money out of it, let's normalize it, right? What happened? You had a lot of movies that come out about computers connecting from, you know, from New York to California or whatever, you know what I mean? So that's their acclimatization process for us, so that we in the public, it's crazy. Did you hear? There's this way of communicating from, I'm here in Montreal and I can communicate to you guys who are in Florida, in Virginia, and whatever other, you know, 30 years ago, you tell somebody, you're in front of a computer. I'm in Montreal. I don't know where all of you guys are. I know Melissa Jane is in Florida, but you guys are several hours away from me at the very least. But here we are having a conversation live with each other. You know, none of us would have believed that 30 years ago. Nobody. But yet here it is. And none of us think this is abnormal. None of us are. And yet when we look at the metaverse, we are like, what do you mean the metaverse is? You know, like Mr. Boy had that shock wiggle. Like, what do you mean?
I feel bad for him.
What do you mean?
Real bad for him.
But
he was like, oh my God.
Just blowed his mind. But you know what else you can do with the metaverse is that you can also make money in the metaverse.
Yeah.
By playing games or by doing certain tasks. You can actually make money in the metaverse. I'm going to do a show. I'm going to do a very, very simple show on it because I'm very, very new to it myself. But I'm going to do a show about it.
So you can make money.
You can make
in the
money
metaverse.
just by mining, just by hitting these big rocks. I'll show you.
Listen, that is literally like breadcrumbs, though. That is breadcrumbs. And
Oh,
one of the things that I say to myself, regardless of what I'm doing, I say, am I doing it or is it doing me? You know,
Good point.
because like this whole lottery concept, like there's something about the games that it plays on the psyche where like, okay, here you are up there. Even I don't know how it is in Florida, but here in North Carolina, there's a phenomenon with these gaming places where people go there and they go to a place like they used to call them business centers where they're playing video games and they're gambling essentially, right?
Wow.
And sometimes you can go in and win $20. Sometimes you go in and win $100. Sometimes you can win $5,000, and it's that mystery behind like, okay, I could come in here with $20 and then I could come back with $100. You know, like them going to the metaverse, they can find themselves, oh man, just a little bit longer, just a little bit longer. I'm so close, you know. And before you know it, people are there 20 hours and haven't eaten nothing, barely moved from their couch, you know?
Right. I know. You're absolutely right. Absolutely right.
I just don't see where that's not gonna happen. When y'all see the movie Surrogates, and before She Stole My Thunder got up here, she's probably seen it. But that movie Surrogates, they were so deep in the virtual. These people were not taking showers for like weeks, and they made it look like that they stunk because they were just in this virtual reality. People were getting divorces when they would come out of the virtual reality. I'm like, oh my god, like Jesus.
Yeah, I did see that movie, but I saw it some time ago. I mean, there's so many instances. Like I saw a movie with Transcendence, where they were taking that you would take your consciousness and you would upload your consciousness to like the cloud, and then like a machine would take over your existence, you know. And so now it'd have a version of you out there living in the digital world, you know, as AI, artificial technology, right, or artificial intelligence. So. When we had that with even the Robin Williams movie. Remember the Robin Williams movie where he started out as a robot, right? As a little butler robot.
Bicentennial Man.
Is that what it was?
Yes.
Bicentennial Man, and he had the desire to become more human, and then eventually he took on like the AI with the silicon skin, and it's wild. But I think that, you know, Mr. Bohr, you said something really interesting, and I have to go back to what I saw in the movie Ready Player One at the end. And I think that there needs to be more people who are saying, hey, go out there, live the world, disconnect, have an opportunity to enjoy the world. Maybe even at night, you can come over here back to this platform. But during the daytime, do what you can to live out loud and be involved in the world, you know. So I think I like the idea of that.
Yeah, him and my daughter would get along very much because she's like, Daddy, I want to do the, what's she call it? The backpack life or something like that. She wants to travel the world and just have her backpack. I said, well, you can do that. You know.
She's stronger than
one
me.
Thing, well, I told her this, man. This is what I told her, Mr. Boy. I told her and my son this. I said, one thing I'm not going to do as a parent is ever live through you. Make your own decisions. Be better than me. And every time I would say be better than me, they would get upset because I would have tears drop. I said, no, I need you to be. I would look them in the face. No, I need you to be better than me. And I would always tear up or tears would drop when I say it because that's what I meant. I want you to do what I didn't do. Go where I didn't go. Go be what I possibly could have been, or go be what you could be or can be. So I'm one of those, I'm one of the parents that their mothers, because it's two different moms, but their mothers would get mad at them, and that somewhat me, because I was the easy one to come talk to. Like, oh, we can tell you anything. I'm like, well, yeah, you know. And so I made that relationship with them. But I told my daughter, if that's what you want to do, I said, It's not me you need to tell that. It's this long-term boyfriend you have. That, because I don't know. But her boyfriend's pretty cool because he's from Ghana. So they're either on their way there now to Ghana, and then she says she's gonna go to another country while she's over there. So she's doing what she wants to do, and that's all that matters to me. And she was like, when she went to Korea for a class, she was like, "Dad, I didn't want to come home." I'm like, "What you mean you didn't want to come home?" She's like, "They treated me like a celebrity over there. People just running up to me. You want to eat? Can we take your picture?" She said, "Because I'm so taller than everybody." And she was like,
How tall is she?
She's about a little bit shorter than me. So I'm 5'9". She's like 5'7".
Oh,
5'7".
So they
Yeah,
real
she's
short.
fine. Yeah. Yeah, it's like for her to be a woman that's kind of considered tall, in some cases. But, but over in Korea, everybody
oh
gonna be tall
right.
to everybody. You know what I'm saying? So she was like, they were running up to me, trying to give me free food, taking pictures. She said, but then when I get back home, all I hear is Black Lives Matter. She said, I didn't want to hear that. That was the first thing out of her mouth. She was like, I didn't want to hear that. She said, the cops don't have guns over there. She said they might have 2 murders a year.
Yeah.
She said it's 2 different worlds. She said, she said, Dad, so we live in this bubble and just think America is what it is. She said, no, we have to travel out.
That's right.
To see what it really is. Because a lot of people look at America a lot different than what we think. Some people, we're spoiled.
I mean, even in the movies, when they say we have to save the world, it's like New York. So,
right.
Where are you from, Mr. Boy?
I'm from South Africa.
South Africa. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Nice accent.
Cool.
Nice accent.
Thank you.
Well, we all know if it's not New York, it's not the world, right? Come on, man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's either New York or LA.
I know.
Either New York or LA. That's the world. Okay, pick one. Pick one of the two. Okay. I know it's always crazy.
But my daughter has sent one of those TikToks. It was a young lady from overseas. She was like, I'm so sick of y'all talking about, and she was Caucasian. She was like, I'm so sick about y'all heroes talking about you got to save the world. Y'all the only ones that can save the world. I was like, and I just text my daughter back like, too funny, but truth. But she was going in. She was going in. She was just like, y'all are not the only ones that can save the world. Just stop. And you start look at the movies that we started talking about this morning, and you're like, I guess she got a strong point there. But when you're in your bubble, I've met people who's never left their city. Seriously. I know some people who's never left their state here. They just set in their ways. And it's amazing to me. When I was going to this church, and I'll stop on this one, but when I was going to this church at one time, the mall is literally a mile and almost 2 miles from where these young kids were living. And the pastor said he goes out there. He's like, how y'all like Greenbrier Mall? They said, we've never been. He's like, wait a minute. He said, y'all can almost walk there. They was like, and they were like 9 and 10. He's like, we never been. And it goes almost back to what Mr. Boyd says. When you're stuck in a world, digital world or whatever world, you don't even know certain things that are 2 miles away from you. So to add to what you're saying about the digital world, it's going to be a lot of lost people. It really is going to be a lot, because they're going to get lost in it. Why? Because I don't have to be me. I don't have to go to the gym and work out. I can make my avatar any way I want. Hey, that's both worlds.
Talking about being lost, Melissa. So tell us what prompted you to go visit the metaverse. How did you go about doing it? So what does it do? Does it take your pictures from Facebook and use that to create your avatar? How does that work?
Sorry. No, it's I'm actually I'm enrolled in this academy that's teaching me how to invest, trade, e-commerce, All right, and then one of the modules is talking about what's coming next as far as cryptocurrencies. So it's all about crypto and investing in that. And one of the ways is NFTs, the metaverse, and so forth. And this metaverse, it's just a website to go to. I can actually even let you have the link once I find it. And you just create an avatar for yourself, and then once you're in, you can just explore like different areas in this metaverse. And if two people are in there, you just find, you just sort of like locate a particular area, and you both go to that area, and then you can like, I mean, it's very, very clunky, I would admit. It's like the avatars are not like very real yet, but it exists, and I can just imagine in.
I'm sorry, I'm just looking at Mr. Boy's
I know.
body language. I'm sorry.
In about 2 or 3 years, the avatars are gonna look better looking. The clothes. You have to select what clothes you want to wear, what hair and what facial expressions, what color you're gonna be. It's kind of interesting. So what led me to it is this course that I'm in, and how to basically make money through all of these different avenues. That's what I've been learning. It's nothing that I would typically have been interested in, to be inside of some virtual reality. It's not something that I would typically be in, but because I'm into technology anyway, that's where. And they're saying that this is the future. It's actually not even the future. It's actually happening now. So you just embrace it. Or for me, I like to embrace technology early. I like to be one of the early adopters. Ish.
Yeah. That's the catchphrase, right? Early adopters. And what I've observed is that what it sounds like you're describing is, so I live here. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Fortnite. So Fortnite is a video game company. They really changed the game up. What they did was they made a free video game that you can use on all kinds of platforms. And you can use it on your cell phone, use it on any gaming system, on the computer. And the company is based out of here in Cary, North Carolina. It's 10 minutes away from me. But what they've done is mixed
Epic
up.
Games, the company. Sorry.
Epic Games is the name of the company, but Fortnite is the name of the name of that specific video games. And what they've done is they've created an environment where you go in there, you playing with your friends, you having what they call battle royales, where it's all of your friends, all of you all are together, and y'all are in a room or in like an environment where your guys are teaming up against the other people. I mean, I think that what I'm saying is like they're all like little deposits that have been made by the video game industry, and now we're taking the video games, we're making them virtual reality. Then we're going to have AR, which is augmented reality, which is like the world you live in, but is augmented to exist in a digital form. But I think that all this stuff has been introduced through like games like Minecraft. Minecraft is where you're building stuff and you're going into like these rooms and you guys are teaming up for you to build stuff. But the way the graphics look, they look very rudimentary. They look very simple. And I think it's a lot of what I'm seeing or what I've heard is in the metaverse. And I can see it being something that they just grow on to develop more and more and more. So what's you all's thoughts on the concept of selling your data? Are you guys willing to sell your data to these companies, or would you rather companies like Meta have an opportunity to sell our data and we get no proceeds from it? I'm curious about what you all think.
So for me personally, I wouldn't necessarily come out straight and say I have a problem with selling my data. I think it's just not being able to choose what part of my data that they getting from me is the part where I'm like a little bit uncomfortable about it. Because if I can say, because I like to have things aligned with my purchases. I want to say, okay, advertise me these sort of things. Because I'm a filmmaker, I'd say, give me camera adverts. I want to see those kinds of things. But if you're taking like where I was born and which kind of cabbage I like, and that's where it starts to get, okay, I don't have, with the Facebook and Meta, you really don't have any control over which information they're taking. You just hope they don't set your house on fire one day, which for me is the scary part for me. Is I'd like to know what part, which is why I like Apple so much, because they let you choose now. Can this app track you? Some apps I let track me because I want I want it to be specific to me, but other apps, you know, I really don't feel comfortable with the amount of information they know about me, because I don't think there's anything wrong about companies wanting to target specific people, because if I don't make candles, a candle maker isn't going to want to advertise to me. But I know Canon, like when I was saying, or Panasonic, or these camera companies, they'd want to advertise to me, and I'd want them to advertise me because I want to stay up to date on the latest thing. So I think I'm okay with these companies using my information or use my information for profit, but the whole not being able to choose what it is where I'd like to draw the line.
I just wanted to make a correction. I've just dropped a link in the back private chat. It's Decentraland. It's an example of a metaverse. It might not be the one, you know, metaverse that you're thinking of, Mr. Boy, because it looked like you was like shocked out of your mind. But it is an example of a metaverse. It's a virtual world. But I've dropped the link. It's called Decentraland. Are you does anybody familiar with Decentraland? Okay, so you might still be as shocked then. So you can use it for free. You can actually create an avatar and just take a look and explore around at your leisure.
Yeah, I posted it in the chat. But yeah, so that's cool. That's cool. I think that so in reference to early adopters, I'm seeing a lot of people who are taking on the NFT space and leveraging it to their advantage at this point. You know, given what you've experienced and what you've observed, Melissa, do you feel like the NFT space is where people are going to really capitalize? At least because I'm seeing the younger generation capitalize on it, but I don't know if it just seems like just a fad or if it's just something that, you know, that has any real value going into the future. What would you say?
I would say it's not going to harm us to invest something into it. NFTs, non-fungible tokens, you know, like artwork or music or what you can have an NFT for virtually anything right now. Collectibles is one of the areas. Basketball shots or, you know, sporting events, moments of sporting events could be considered an NFT. I think it's an area that the educators that we're listening to have been exploring for several years now, and people are already making money from it. So it's a place to be in. If people are making money early, then it's only going to get better, I think. So I've invested in a few NFTs right now, and hopefully when it becomes more popular, they become valuable and I'll be able to sell them. I might have bought them for $5, $6 when they do become popular and more and what's the word? The supply and demand is at my advantage. I'll sell them, and I could sell something that I bought for $6 for maybe $6,000. Who knows? So it's an area that is still so new, but to just ignore it is a mistake. Really, it's best to just jump in and then learn and learn as you're going along. As they're teaching us, I'm learning as I'm going along. So it's not going to, you know, to invest in something like for $5 or $6, it's nothing, right? And what happens in 3 or 4 years when they're valuable?
So you've seen places. Oh, go ahead. My bad.
Sorry, Sim, to interrupt. I'm just going to take this moment to take my leave and call it a night. But I will keep the chat going and participate. But I do have to make an important call. So it was nice meeting you, Mr. Boy. I know that we didn't have a really good chance to talk, but hopefully we'll be seeing each other in the streets.
In the metaverse.
Yeah, in the metaverse or other places that you feel safe.
I'm kidding.
to put you in danger, Mr. Boyd.
No.
So if you rather the YouTube streets, I'm fine with that as well. But it was good to talk to you,
I'll
Mr.
send a
Bernard
dove.
again.
To stay
Okay,
off the
good.
village, I'll send a pigeon.
Okay, send me an owl like they do in Harry Potter, right?
Thank you, Shoot. Stole my thunder. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Simsia. Great show. And like I said, I'll keep going with the live in the chat. And it was good to speak to you again, Bernard and Melissa. So have a great night,
Always.
guys.
Take care. You stole my
Take
thunder.
care.
Au revoir.
Salutes.
Au revoir.
Yeah. So yeah, this is really great. I really appreciate you all. Thanks a lot. You know, I'm really focused on being serious. You know, I think I appreciate you all coming on, because for me, analysis paralysis, and then, you know, imposter syndrome, just many of the other isms, you know, they're a thing. And I was literally, when I was attempting to get this live on, I was literally sweating. I was sweating because everything that could happen was happening.
It's only gonna be up from now. If your first stream was that bad,
I probably won't have a quarter of the equipment that you have when I come up. So it's gonna be different, but I'm gonna make it work.
The simpler the better to start. At least to start.
Yeah, really.
When you try to do too much at one time, that's where you often get some of the problems.
So yeah, because honestly, I didn't mean to cut you off. I might not add these monitors until next month, bro. Or like for real. Like, let me just get this basic going, and then I'll add these two nice size monitors and be like, okay, yeah, I'm doing something. But it's like she said, that learning curve. Yeah, I'm not even gonna go there.
Hey Bernard, is that curtain that you have a different darker curtain, or is it just that it's just because it's dark outside why it's not
dark
showing
outside? Because me and my wife been looking all day today, and the one that I want, I'm gonna spend some money.
So is it, you're looking for a blackout curtain?
Oh yeah,
they're not that expensive, to be honest with you.
I'm a get what you pay for, guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean, you got Amazon,
that makes sense,
you know, to bridge the gap too sometimes.
Yeah, so I mean, it's like the ones I saw that were cheaper, they want 3 layered. Like the ones that are a little bit higher, they're like 3 layered, and they literally, it's like 100% instead of 60%. So
how much are you looking to spend on a curtain for that window?
The ones I'm looking at, or I have in my cart right now, is like $47 for a pair, and I need like 2 pair.
All right, I think $47 for a pair. I'm going to send you a link to what I got, because these red curtains that I have behind me, I have the same thing in black as well, and they're heavy curtains. They don't let the light shine through. They're heavy curtains. But I'll find what I got and send you the link. They might be around just a little bit cheaper, maybe 20 or 30, but
that'll work. Anything saved is always better. I'm gonna take it one. And so I was that StreamYard though. If he sent me that information on that price, because he's right, that sucker's usually $249. If you go on Amazon,
the Stream Deck.
$249. Stream Deck, the Stream Deck, that's $249 on that.
Oh, okay.
So $175 is a killer deal.
Man, you see, this is how we can tell we struggle streaming. My camera died. So one thing that I can say is you know, the Stream Deck is cool, but to be really honest, like Melissa's saying, just getting started is really like the thing. For me, the only convenience that I have with the Stream Deck as it pertains to StreamYard specifically is I can press a button in order for me to mute. But the same button I can press with the Stream Deck is the same button that I can press with the mouse to mute. You know, and even to turn the camera on and off. It's really the same. But I think that Melissa was really, really on point with making sure that you have at least another monitor, because one of the things that I've discovered, Melissa, and you can speak to this, is that in order for me to share my screen and to be able to see YouTube and for me to be able to see StreamYard, those things can't be all on the same screen at the same time.
Exactly. It just makes it hard.
Otherwise, you have that whole Inception thing where it's like a window going in the window forever.
Yeah. Yeah,
and
it just
So
makes
let me
it's
ask-
easy for you.
So let me ask both of you guys this. Okay, back to Kevin. Now, I know y'all were saying it was OBS for him. So, Melissa, I know you would know this, and I know since he is beginning to mess with it. Okay, so multiple cameras. Is that all within StreamYard too? If you want to
cameras.
switch, not to make it boring, you got, let's just
Yeah.
say 2 cameras.
So,
So can you do the switch in there too in StreamYard? I'm sure he can dedicate that button on the Stream Deck, which is cool. But I'm asking.
yeah, from at least what I'm seeing that what Kevin Samuels is doing, he has 2 things going on. So he has the what's it called? The OBS. He has the OBS,
yes.
and he's using the StreamYard together. So he's toggling through between the two. Because as you see, when he pulls up StreamYard, he's in the bottom corner.
Hey guys, I'm gonna have to sign out for tonight. I just got a crazy call.
Okay.
But okay,
All right.
thank you guys.
Well, it's
It was great
good
meeting
talking
you.
with you.
Nice to meet you
Awesome.
guys.
All right, you
Have a
take care. Next
Have a
time.
good one, Mr. Boy.
Yeah. We got
There he is.
Getty.
Oh, we have been blessed.
Getty, what's going on, man? My camera's down.
What's up, man?
Hold on. Getty?
Yeah.
No, your sound is crazy.
You got static in it.
It's
Yeah,
a lot of static. Something's not plugged in right.
Yeah, so I forgot what were we saying?
We're talking about going between multiple cameras.
Oh,
Yeah.
so Melissa, you were talking. What were you saying now?
Yeah, so because he's using the OBS with the StreamYard.
Oh, you're talking about Ecamm Live. That's what you're talking about. Ecamm.
Is that what it is?
Is that what it is?
Yeah, so he uses Ecamm too. So he uses Ecamm, and then he uses another technology in order for it to be his green room. So he was using Zoom in order to be his green room, but Ecamm is like his video manager, it's like his producer.
Producer.
So you imagine like his producer is Ecamm, but then his green room was Zoom, and so he would be interacting with people in Zoom, and then he would bring the video in as like a virtual source, so like another monitor.
Right,
I think
right.
that's what I'm guessing he's doing with StreamYard now and Ecamm. But yeah, if you look, he uses Ecamm. That's how he does whenever he starts to show up. I don't know if you've noticed this, Melissa, too. Whenever he starts to show up, and it automatically, like you'll see him sitting in a chair.
Yep.
And then you'll see the video change from one source. It'd be like a countdown straight to a video.
Yeah.
And you can use Ecamm where you strategically have like a sequence of steps that you take in order for it to cycle through your different processes, you know?
Yeah, it sounds very similar to vMix. I would use, if I wasn't using StreamYard, I'd be using vMix. And since he, and then, so, there are so many different ways of doing the same thing. There's so many different pieces of software to do the same thing. I would use a mixture of vMix and StreamYard. But since I've been using StreamYard and I haven't had any issues, I'm just going to stick to that until I need to go further, which is probably going to happen soon, because I do like the fact when somebody does give a super chat that you bring that into your production. I like the way that's done. So we'll see. I like the way how it's done creatively, like coming up on the screen. So I do like the way how that's done.
Oh, are you talking about with KS, with what he's doing, or are you talking about like with lead attorney?
With KS and with El Guapo did it as well with his recent.
Yeah. That's OBS. I think he's using.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah, I think he's using OBS. It's like like I said, it seems like with OBS, they know how to connect it. It's almost like I agree with lead attorney. Nobody else is giving us what he's giving us on the Patreon. Mm-hmm. But the slick moves that El Guapo and Kevin Samuels are doing, but the transitions and the different camera angles, that would be nice to know.
That'd be nice. That's like next. Yeah. If you want to take it in stages, To try to just do all that at one time is going to be a lot. Let's hear what Getty sounds like now. What's up, Getty?
Getty, can you hear us now?
Try again.
Am I good?
No,
No.
still the same.
It's still static. I don't know why.
I gotta get this together for my stream.
Yeah, better get that together, man. So Sim, did your camera fail?
Yes, it died. It died. I need to get a dummy battery. I mean, we're doing all aspects of struggle streaming today. You know.
Well, let me give you one other tip, which you probably seen it done before, but just to see if you can do it. It's not going to help your video, but just to give you another tip. You know how you can just move different video screens around on the screen by just dragging and dropping? So you could drag my picture and just drop it to the left to replace yours, or drag and even further, like drag Bernard over to the middle. There we go. So you can do a little bit of that if you like.
Oh,
Yeah,
Have you tried that? Have you tried that before?
No, that's actually better. So did you tell Bernard about your? Oh yeah, Bernard was on the. He was on your live where you made this exact recommendation right here.
Yeah.
yes.
So whoever's featuring, you can just put them into the middle and feature them.
Mm.
Like
Uncle Stu does that. Uncle Stu does that a lot.
There we go.
He does.
Hello,
Yep.
everybody.
Yep.
So that's
There she
another
is.
tip for the day.
Oh yeah, that's the spotlight. The spotlight,
spotlight.
Layout.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And
this is-
some of these features, it's hard to try them out on your own. So while you have people on the screen, that's where you want to test stuff out as well.
Yeah. So the picture in picture always works. It's displayed on YouTube, and you can't see it on StreamYard at all, right?
Yes, you can. Yes, you
How
can.
do
The
you
picture
see
in
it?
picture. The
How do you see-
picture in
you
picture
see
is another view at the bottom.
No.
It's usually-
Yeah. So does the picture in picture only work when you share, though, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, but I'm saying I cannot see the picture in picture unless I go to the YouTube feed. Or can you
And
see
look at it.
Yeah, to look at it.
I think that's where that second monitor comes in. probably.
That's it.
Yeah, and then, so
Yep.
that's the dilemma that I had was that right
That's
now
where the second
I have,
monitor comes in. I answered myself because I always see Uncle Stu looking and he's switching people. That's what helped me just answer that because I'm like, you know what?
Yep.
I know what she's about to say. He's looking. He
You
knows
said
who to
exactly
put.
what I was about to say.
Yeah,
Major
second
Change
monitor
Group has
right
just
there.
joined. Hey, Major Change Group, welcome. Hey.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, that's what that is.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's
I noticed-
I think.
Go ahead.
No, you good. Go ahead. I'm learning.
I know that it's busy tonight. There's a lot going on tonight out here in these YouTube streets. And so Melissa, are you changing as far as your plans? Do you have plans that are different this year as far as like you staking yourself within the YouTube? I mean, between the crypto space.
So for 2022, I'm just getting even deeper in. I'm just learning more about the crypto and the NFTs and the Decentraland and all the different metaverses. I'm just getting deeper and deeper because I would say I'm still at the early stages. I've only been in it. I've been learning all of the trading stuff for the most part of last year of 2021, and this early part I'm going to be more into the crypto space. So yeah. In short, yes, I'm getting deeper in, and it's a lot to do with investing. More so for the long-term investing. There's a lot of interesting things happening, and just like anything else, it's gradual. You gotta learn what's happening from the beginning and try not to wait too late. So that's what I'm doing. And you'll hear other people talk about the crypto all the time. You'll hear people like, what's his name now?
Wealth engineering.
Wealth engineering is one, and there's about two.
Perry Unlikely.
Perry Unlikely, exactly, and even the lead attorney, I think, got some tips from Perry Unlikely and made a lot of money. So, listen, man, I'm retired, so I just want to make sure that I've got money for years and years and years.
Yeah. Now, well, it's a little bit different for you as far as retired. as far as a retired person, because now I also, so like for instance, today's the first of the year, right? So a lot of the people in the financial independence community, they're talking about maxing out the Roth IRA, you know, as early as possible in order for them to be able to leverage what's going on. All right, Getty, Getty, you want to try it again?
Yeah, because I can't really hear myself.
That's it.
Okay.
That's it?
Yeah.
We can hear you good now.
That's it now.
Thank you. How is everybody doing? Happy New Year. Good people.
Happy New Year,
Happy New Year.
Getty.
Happy New Year.
Man.
Yeah.
But all that's left, huh?
I think he's coming back. He dropped off for a second.
Yeah.
But so one of the things that we were discussing today is that the concept of being a first principles thinker, and that's essentially just being down to the basics, like having the idea of how things are made based upon like the things that you know are there. So it's like no assumptions from any previous information that you've gathered, but only the things that you have. So imagine something similar to a Lego set, right? So a Lego set is comprised of a series of different Lego blocks that come together in order for it to create an image. But the core foundation of the Legos are just one block, you know, and you know it could be different colors, but it's all just like the blocks that start out at the bottom all the way up until you finish producing what you're producing. So that's the concept in a nutshell. And so we were just asking if people were familiar with that. Have you ever heard of something like that before?
No, I never heard of that concept. No, very interesting though.
So yeah, it just ends up being like a fancy term for like an old concept, really old concept, honestly. So anything that you've taken apart, if you've ever like cooked a meal, or if you've ever like taken a dish that was made maybe at a restaurant and maybe you re-engineered it at home, that's the process. It's like you breaking down like everything that makes up the dish, and then you get all the sauces and all the different additives that go into it, and then you producing that same item. A lot of times whenever you cook it at home, it's usually for less money than you would buy it from a restaurant, you know? So it's the concept that Elon Musk used whenever he was buying or trying to get involved into the rocket industry. He saw that people were charging him a lot of money for him to have rockets to start SpaceX. And he said, hey, let's figure out a way that we can create our own rockets, and we can do it for less by knowing what are the things that are needed in order for me to have a rocket. So that's essentially what first principles thinking is, and that's how he's used it for him to fuel his rocket technology and also to fuel his battery technology.
Sounds good. Reverse engineering, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So you familiar with the metaverse? So
absolutely.
You are?
I heard y'all speaking about that earlier. I said, let me get in and talk about some of this metaverse, man. I've been telling folks, young folk, old folks, that the new thing, the new wave is coming is the metaverse, and they need to go ahead and get them some of them cryptocurrencies that's in the metaverse. And I point people to Decentraland. Yes.
Right. Absolutely. Let Getty have the spotlight, Sincere. Look at you producing.
Mr. Jane up there.
Anyway. No, man, you're looking good, man. You're looking good. You're looking sharp.
Yeah, I'm familiar with it. I am invested. I tell people, man, invest. This is the next wave. This right here, the metaverse is the next thing. Your next billionaires are going to be coming out of this thing right here. You need to go ahead and get in early. So, it's one that I've been watching. Hold on, let me see if I can share it with y'all. Okay, I can't think of the name of it right now. It's Imperium Empires.
Imperium Empires?
Oh, haven't heard that one.
That's under Avalanche. You know about the crypto Avalanche. That's under them. That's theirs. Imperium Empires, and they should be in public here soon. So that's the one. That's the next one I'm going to put money into, because it's way low right now. I don't know if it's public yet, but I know they was doing a few rounds of funding.
Is that fueled by Roblox?
It's fueled by it's avalanches.
Avalanches.
It's an extension of Avalanche. It's there.
I'm not even familiar with Avalanche. Oh, I see.
I'll have to look at that one later on. I'm going to bookmark that.
Empires. Yeah. That's one of the ones that I've been looking at, and that's where I'm gonna be investing here. Then my next metaverse crypto.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So yeah,
there's a lot to learn, and where are you getting your information or your knowledge? Are you just researching by yourself, or are you part of a community, Getty?
No, I research it, and you look at YouTube channels, man. All those guys, they're very good at that stuff, man. Those mm-hmm. guys got 500,000 subscribers, 200,000. They get a lot of inside info. Also, wealth engineering.
Yeah,
he's got a lot of good information about crypto and all of that stuff too. He's really good at disseminating the information as far as crypto and stuff is concerned. So I also did a collaboration with him too.
Right. Yeah. Simsia, are you part of Wealth Engineering's
Discord? I am. I have not been active, and I'm not. I'm not active there, but yeah, I am a part of his Discord. What were you going to say about it?
I was just going to say you can find a lot of good information from there. He does give a lot of information for free. It's a lot to look at as well, but at least he's pretty. He does regular streams about his stuff, what is picking up. So
yeah,
a lot of it's for free.
I was gonna say, I don't know if can you guys see my screen?
Yeah, we can. Yep.
You're sharing the screen that you're actually on. You got to move it over to another.
Can you guys see anything now?
Yep. We can see the Empire.
Okay. All right. My YouTube's delayed over here. So yeah. So let me ask you both a question, because I'm not involved in the space. So I'm actually in the. So I'm part of the FIRE community, financial independence community, right? And because of my involvement with the community, I am really adopting a lot of the older concepts as it pertains financial independence. And I'm not familiar with the NFT or even the crypto space. And for me, it seems a lot like there's a lot of chatter all over the entire platform, and it just seems like I'm not able to really get someone to really bring it down to like almost layman's terms exactly how things work and how we can navigate and leverage what we have before us. What would you all say has been something that's allowed y'all to be less confused with what's going on?
Getty, what would you say?
Just like I said, I follow those. I follow a couple of YouTube content creators that are centered around cryptocurrency, and I also read up on this stuff. Coinbase is a great cryptocurrency application where it's only crypto on there where you can buy, and they actually have courses and things that you can learn. I learned this last night from Trash Can Waves. He said they actually got courses where you can learn about certain cryptos, and then they actually pay you in cryptocurrency for watching the course. Right? So I would say get you a Coinbase application, download it, connect it, and start watching them videos, and that'll give you an understanding. But pretty much for me, I see all of this as an investment opportunity. And for me, right, even if I don't understand it, one thing I do understand, if I can't win if I don't play, right? So I got to throw something in there pertaining to, because I had an opportunity to invest in Bitcoin like 12 years ago, and I missed the window, right? And I said, man, I'm not going to let that happen to me again. So this right here, crypto, whatever it is, any new coins, man, I throw money in them things, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't have to understand how it works.
Right.
If I got the money spared that I can throw it at it and it's not going to hurt me, I'll just throw it in there and consider it a long-term investment. And I'm just going to let it sit 10, 15 years. And you never know. Right.
Yeah.
Especially if you get a significant amount of shares or something like that. But yeah, pretty much. I mean, I'm pretty sure you're familiar with the metaverse. A lot of these these metaverse cryptos are video games, right? So the same thing with Imperium Empires. It's going to be, this is a pretty much, I guess, a game that people are going to be, or another universe within the metaverse, right? So same thing with Decentraland. They got their own real estate. They got their own characters. You can go in there and play with them. You understand? It's pretty much like these currencies are video games that are going to be within the metaverse. And they even, you know, I'm pretty sure y'all familiar. They got real estate in the damn thing now. It's crazy.
Yeah, and just to echo on that, Sincere, we don't have to necessarily understand it in order for us to get involved. All right, so just like Getty was saying with cryptocurrency, with Bitcoin. Mm-hmm. How rich would we have been if we had, dropped $100 to $500 back then, right? Mm-hmm. So we don't. As we're learning about it, we can get involved. You can choose whichever avenue. Just to keep it simple, you can choose whichever avenue you want to learn from, whether it's from, YouTube. Mm-hmm. Whether it's from somebody who is already in, and again, they don't have to be an expert, or to join an academy that specializes in this area. I'm part of an academy, so if I wasn't already a part of this academy, I probably would have joined Wealth Engineering's program. He has a program that just I think it's probably the first day is today, so the cutoff probably was yesterday, I think.
Yeah, he was selling the course. And
so
you gotta get into it if you buy the course. I don't know if you're doing it anymore, but yeah.
So I would if you're interested, Sincere, I would just say, learn from somebody, and you don't have to learn everything before you get involved.
Right.
Yeah,
and I treat cryptos like I treat IPOs, right? Like just like you got the website IPO Scoop, you can find out any upcoming IPO for pretty much the whole year. You go to IPO Scoop, it's going to let you know what's the next IPOs coming up this week, next week, week after, January, the entire year, who plans on going public. And then you can do your research on that company, right? Same thing, I treat cryptocurrency the same way. I may Google, hey, what's the next up and coming crypto currency? What's the next coin coming out in the metaverse? And then you look that up. And that's how I found Imperium Empires, because it's fairly new, and this is why I try to catch them when they new like this, when they're still a fraction of a penny. You know what I mean? So they hadn't hit $1 yet, $2, $3. They're still a fraction of a penny, so it don't take much money for you to get a significant amount of coin. So I kind of treat it the same way I treat the stock market. I try to find something that's new. I do a little research on it, and hey, I'm not an expert, so if it feels right, I'm gonna throw some money into it because nobody understood what Bitcoin was when Bitcoin was being used to do illegal transfers or whatever, transact money untraced on the dark web, right? Nobody knew what it was. They just knew that, hey, if you want to buy something on the dark web, you got to get this thing called Bitcoin, right? And you got to go get a wallet, and you got to put your money in it, and then you got to know what a $50 may be 35 numbers or some mess like that, and then people started using that, and then next thing you know, it blew, and it had a meteoric rise, and I didn't expect for it to hit $60,000, but it did, and I'm pissed off that I didn't get some when I tried to, because my bank rejected my wire transfer, because you had to transfer money over to a bank over in Russia to buy it.
Oh, wow.
10, 12, 13 years ago. And they rejected it and said they're not messing with cryptocurrency at the time. You know what I'm saying? And I gave up, and I was like, well, maybe they ain't messing with it in America. Maybe it's you got to be, overseas or something to get it. And I gave up, and I'm pissed off about that. So I'm not going to miss the next one.
Now, Getty, do you see this right here? Where
Go
it
ahead.
says, if you're a resident of the following countries, you will be prohibited from participating in imperial empire sales.
Mm-hmm. That's on the launch. Hold on, let me see.
Oh, and on an avalanche.
That was in the initial funding, right? Because they treated it like it was an IPO. You got a round of funding. You got so they're building up. So all of that right there is done. If you see the last day of sale was the 19th of December.
I saw that. Yeah.
Let me see.
At 6 a.m.
I'm about to check one of my
that's cool, man. This is cool. Yeah. So for me,
Imperial Empires is
I think the close period
now. You just got to find the app that supports it. So I'm gonna find my way to invest into that tonight. So I got Coinbase. It's not supported on Coinbase, so I got to find an exchange.
What about Qcoin?
My wallet, right?
Does Qcoin have it? Oh, how would you? What's the process of finding out who sells what?
You can Google it. You can actually go to these exchanges, and you don't have to sign up. You can just search it in the exchange, and it'll let you know if they have it or not. If they don't have it, it'll pretty much let you know. Like I just did that with Coinbase. They don't have it. Cool, it's up for sale. It's up for sale, but it's not available on this platform. They're not supporting it. So you got to find out who's supporting it. And I got Binance. Let me check my other. Let me check. I have Gemini too. I'm gonna check my Gemini account.
I heard Gemini. That's what I know. I know Wealth Engineer was telling us Gemini is next up and coming platform.
Yeah, I got Gemini.
That's cool. Did you Melissa, did you were you there the day JB was on the at Wealth Engineers? Oh, you
no, I've been
that was some time ago, like a week or so ago, maybe 2 weeks.
I need to actually go back and watch that because I think that would be an interesting one. But no,
yeah, so that one. Yeah, it's some wild stuff. But yeah, so I am a part of his Discord, so that's something that I need to really. And for me, like I was saying before, it's like really just figuring out which path we follow. If we're gonna follow, if I'm gonna follow like traditional FIRE concepts, like I said, maxing out my Roth IRA, or if I'm just gonna do the additions outside of my Roth IRA contributions, if I would do this as my 10% or my 20% crypto, and then still keeping everything in the market. So those are the things that, like the way I operate, and my premise behind my channel is, the concept of give a man a fish, feed him for a day, teach him how to fish, and feed him for life. And so that empowerment, the empowerment that you gain from having enough information to at least discern, or not even just that, but also that having the ability to identify like something that makes sense and something that doesn't make sense. And that's been the difficult thing for the crypto space for me, is understanding something that's legit. And you both have really explained ways that I could really go about exploring who I can trust or who I can follow, and then going from there.
Yeah, it's a learning process again. But the key thing is just to get your feet wet, even if it's just a small amount to get started with, and then grow from learn and grow as you go.
Oh yeah.
But I would, obviously the methods that you're using already, as far as your Roth IRA or whatever, you could continue doing those. There is another video that Wealth Engineering put out about a week or two ago, and he was basically comparing traditional stocks and investing compared to crypto investing. I would definitely encourage you to watch that one as well.
Yeah, so I'll go back checking that out. I'll do that tonight because like that's one of the main things that we really push is to go ahead and try to fund your Roth as early as possible, so compound interest will work to your favor. But but the crypto space is like a whole bunch of FOMO, and if you don't take advantage of it, you definitely miss out. So
yeah.
And
but but yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up. Getty, were you looking something up? You still trying to figure out?
No, I'm just
there.
I'm just trying to figure out the move that I'm gonna make, because I'm gonna find this exchange that got that, and I'm gonna buy me some tonight.
Oh, you did find one?
Huh?
You said you did find one?
No, I'm looking for it right now. I need to get.
That's it. I mean, like the people who are in the trenches right now, those are the people who end up like being up later on, and they end up being praised as like the geniuses. But it's what you're doing with your time right now that's really determines where you're going to be at in the next year, next few months. So I appreciate the insight that you both have shared with me. I look forward to participating in this space, because I hate, this is like I was saying, like when Amazon and Facebook were first released, and this is an opportunity for us to go up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's an opportunity to go up.
Well, Amazon was public since the 90s. A lot of people didn't know that, but
yeah, they've been out there for a while. But
that one, Jesus,
crazy. So in closing, if you have any closing remarks, Miss Melissa Jane.
Yeah, I actually have a stream going on right now, which I was just about to jump on, because I totally forgot I had scheduled a premiere for 8 o'clock. So I'm late for my own premiere. But I just wanted to say, congratulations on your first live stream. You've got for several hours, I think, right now. So congratulations, even though your video camera's died, you're still going strong. You know what I mean? So I hope that you can continue to build daily on what you've learned, and I hope that you enjoyed the couple of tips that I gave today. And just remember that that's what I want to be known for. I want to be known for the person who can give streaming tips, social media tips, and so forth. So definitely spread the word help to spread the word for me as well. So I appreciate you for having me on here.
I'm so grateful to have you. Thanks a lot for the tips that you've shared. I no longer look like a brand new newbie, so I don't look like a total noob. So it's at least something that that'll make me look a little bit less fresh. But I appreciate the knowledge. I appreciate the conversation. Thanks a lot, and I look forward to coming on your platform and hearing some more valuable information that you have to share. It's amazing. It's amazing information that you're sharing, even things that you're sharing about Instagram, because the other part is like we have to operate our Instagram in correspondence with YouTube, because what did KS say earlier this week? We have to be platform agnostic, and so it's important. So I thank you gratefully for doing what you're doing, and I look forward to more information that you have to share with us.
Awesome. Thanks a lot. Have a good night, and take care, Getty. I'll see you in the streets, man.
Hey, CoinMarketCap got Imperium Empire.
Say it again.
CoinMarketCap.com. They have Imperium Empire. You can buy it on there. That exchange.
Wow.
I'm going to get that tonight. You dig? It's on. It's on.
Yeah, I love it.
All right. Bye, guys. Again, all the best, everybody.
Mr. Jane.
Happy New Year.
Over there in your premiere.
Okay, thanks.
All right. You have any closing statements for us? I just want
to and show you some support for your first live, man. I said last night I was going to come over here, and she stole my thunder, told me you was live. So I said, let me get over here and show them some support. So I just came to show some support, man. Like I said, in this community here, in this space, we support each other, man. These folks, very supportive. So yeah, we always pay it forward, man. I appreciate you for having me. And congratulations. Keep pushing, brother.
Thanks a lot, man. And you're in the same city as me too, so
absolutely.
So it's even more unique because you're in the same city as me, and so we can connect on a different level as far as like
Absolutely,
the
man. Don't be no
movements.
stranger.
So
Right here.
So we're gonna connect because there's some ideas that I have as far as like the local community here and things that we could do as like the early adopters in this space. And you're ahead of the curve, man. And so I believe that you're probably in a better position than me. But I gratefully respect and admire what you've done so far, man, and what you've done since August, right?
September.
Since September, man. So you're making amazing strides, and you're at. I'm trying to remember. 1,600. What is it?
1,200. You talking about subs?
1,200 subs, right?
Yeah.
So 1,200 subs, and you're dropping videos constantly, man. So, Mr. Bernard, Mr. Getty is definitely goals right now, man. He's the guy to look forward to following.
Man, I appreciate that. Shit. But no, shout out, brother. We're gonna link up, man. Hey, hopefully I'll see y'all tomorrow, man, in my struggle stream.
What's going on?
6 o'clock, struggle stream Sundays, man. Hopefully I'll see y'all.
Oh, I would definitely see you tomorrow night, bro. And y'all close enough I can get to y'all. So I used to truck drive. Getting to y'all ain't nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
You been on that road, huh?
You down 58, right?
Yeah, VA. I'm in Chesapeake, Virginia Beach, Norfolk area.
Seven cities. Yeah, all day. Yeah, so yeah, you're right down the street. I think you have the YouTube playing. That's why we're getting the double audio. But yeah, Getty, man, thanks a lot, man, and we'll definitely connect, man. You on Instagram?
Yeah. Hit me on the gram, bro. My Instagram is Getty Radio. Getty Radio, that's the Instagram. Send me an email, man, and not a DM or whatever. And we'll link up from there, brother. Yes, sir.
No doubt, man. Salute, man. I appreciate you, man.
But no, I catch you, man. When you gonna get that page jumping?
Hey, look in your IG, Getty. Keep looking because I want to connect with you for real. I want to talk to you. So yeah.
Yes, sir. We can do that. We can do that. You hit me tonight?
Yeah, I can hit. Yeah, we can talk tonight.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, let's do it because I ain't doing nothing. We'll jump up here and show some support on Melissa James. She got a premiere going. She not live. It's just a premiere. Hit the message on it. So yeah, we can do that. Hit me up, brother. I'm all for it.
Well, yeah, let's go support her right quick. Yeah, and I'll holler at you then. I'll drop my phone number in the joint.
Yes, sir. Hey, Simcia, you do the same thing, bro.
Nah, man, we're gonna connect. We're here, man. We're too close to not connect, man. But hey, Coach Clinician is in our area too.
He is?
Yeah, Carolina, man. Oh, he's here. He's in the area.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Coach Clinician is in the area.
That brother, he dropping science, boy.
Yeah.
If y'all three got together in one location and did a show, y'all would kill it, probably.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's why I need to work and get my YouTube muscles up, man, and that's what my mission is at this point. Yeah, so
that'd be great. I think y'all gonna make me put my studio in that room over there instead of in this loft. Have some room. That's what you gonna make me do.
But yeah, I appreciate you guys. But Bernard, do you have any closing statements before we run over here to Melissa?
Everybody just keep their head up and keep supporting each other, man, and keep doing what we're doing, man, and we gonna all make it. And we're gonna be good for sure. We building our own Wu-Tang. How about that?
I'm all for it, brother. Hey, I'll be looking forward to them DMs, man. So I'll holler at y'all. I'll catch y'all on the flip side, baby.
All right, fellas.
Okay, man. I'll holler at you.
All
right. Peace.
All right, there you have it. We're struggle streaming, and thank you for everyone that came through. Thank you for everyone that came up on the panel. It was my first live. Thank you for everyone coming through and showing me love. It means a lot to me. That this is textbook struggle streaming. My camera even died. And we're just gonna have to figure it out. So if nothing else, Hope you all have a great night. I look forward to seeing you all next time. All right. Have a good one. Peace.